3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
From the Play Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to another edition, and make it a Tuesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 158, the free Odyssey app, and of course, streaming live on YouTube. 855-212-4227 is the number to jump on in. 855-212-4227. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, X, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. We got a whole lot to do today. We are rock and rolling all the way up until 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. I got my main man, Moist Mike, with me, Ryan Botcher as well, and we appreciate you tuning in. Congratulations to the Boston Celtics. I think that was the easiest bet I've ever made last night, taking the Celtics at 6.5, 7 points, whatever I got the number at. Tonight, I will take the Florida Panthers, laying a 1.5 as well, which is plus money when you do it that way. And I think the Panthers, just like the Celtics, they close out business on their home ice, on their home court in Game 5 tonight, with the Florida Panthers going up against the Edmonton Oilers. But let's start with the Celtics. Congratulations to the Boston Celtics, championship number 18. They were the best team in the regular season, didn't get a ton of praise, even though they were drastically better than everybody in the Eastern Conference. Through the first 3 rounds of the NBA postseason, there wasn't anything outstanding that was going to merit praise, just because the Heat were injured with Jimmy Butler. Then in round 2, Donovan Mitchell got hurt. And then in the final 2 games of the series up against the Pacers, Indiana was without Tyrese Halliburton. I don't think it would have mattered. Could it have been a closer and a tougher road to get to the final? Sure. But Boston, all throughout the year, knew what the goal was, and it was to hoist that Larry O'Brien trophy last night, and they ended up doing so, and they ended up taking care of business in a quick 5-game series where they basically just gave up and said, get us back to Boston for Game 5, when they didn't give a rat's ass about Game 4, and that's how the NBA season does end. I'll say this right out of the gate. It's amazing to me when there was a large majority of people throughout the year who refused to give the Celtics credit. And I get it, because earlier on, and we talked about this numerous times, this group, they overachieved. Then through time, when they kept on getting there but not finding a way to win a championship, then they were considered to be underachieving. So when you play both sides of that and you don't have a championship, people are going to say, I'll believe you'll get that championship when I see it. But the one gripe I have with people today is, after refusing to give the Celtics praise, and that's every right that you had, to refuse to give the Celtics praise all throughout the regular season, all throughout the postseason, up until last night when you had the confetti falling and you had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Joe Mazzulla, Brad Stevens, Wick Grossbeck, and on and on and on, Al Horford, Drew Holiday, raising a championship trophy. The moment that happens, I don't think you're entitled to say, oh, this postseason sucks, and no one's going to remember that the Boston Celtics won a championship. It just comes off as sour grapes. I understand this wasn't the most entertaining postseason in the world, but it speaks to the dominance and the greatness that this Boston Celtics team did display. So I'm not going to tolerate today people trying to take away or people trying to pivot from giving the Boston Celtics their credit and their due, because this was a group which didn't get a lot of credit throughout the year because of the fact it was all about winning a championship. So everyone could suck it up for 24 to 48 hours and say positive things about the Boston Celtics. With that being said, though, I have a poll question right out of the gate. And there's a lot of times when a team wins a championship, it is obvious who the first person is that gets the majority of the praise. In this championship, I don't think it's obvious, and this is why I created this question, which you can find at Zach Gelb and at INF Sportsnet on Twitter. Samson will retweet it from the Infinity Sports Network account. Who benefits the most in the public's eye from the Celtics winning a championship? And I gave 4 options. You know, I did not include Al Horford, who could be going to the Hall of Fame. I did not include Joe Mazzulla, who deserves credit after a lot of people unfairly were ready to get rid of him after last year when he took over the job with the aftermath of the Ime Udoka situation. And his time wasn't last year, but the criticism of Joe Mazzulla last year I thought was silly, and he was clearly not deserving of the most blame last year. So you got to give credit to Horford and Mazzulla. It's not me not putting them there. It's I only get 4 options. And these are the 4 options. Is it Jason Tatum? Is it Jaylen Brown? Is it Drew Holiday? Or is it Brad Stevens? And the question once again is, who benefits the most in the public's eye from the Celtics winning a championship? My answer goes in this order. from 1 to the most, then 4 to the least on benefiting in the public eye from the Celtics winning a championship. 1 for me is Brad Stevens. 2 for me is Jaylen Brown. 3 is Jason Tatum. And then 4 is Jrue Holiday. Let me explain my reasoning, and I'll do so from 4 to 1, the least beneficial in the public eye to the most beneficial. Jrue Holiday has now won 2 championships. 1 in Boston, 1 in Milwaukee. Jrue Holiday is a criminally underrated player in the NBA, and he has brought a championship presence to Boston. And his defense all throughout the year, and especially in the postseason, was phenomenal. This championship, and Jrue Holiday's not a young man. He's 34 years old. And he's already won 3 first team. He had 3 times he's been honored as a first team all-defensive player. But I think for Jrue Holiday, there is more national respect now. It doesn't overtake the other 3 of Stevens and Tatum and Brown, but there will be more national acknowledgement, more national respect. And people will view Jrue Holiday as a very good basketball player and someone, don't be surprised. I already heard Jalen Brunson talk about this, where I think he said at Taylor Rooks that Jrue Holiday should have already won a Defensive Player of the Year. If Jrue Holiday is a good defensive player next year, which he's been 3 times first team all defense, it would not shock me with now the national attention he received from not only winning a championship in Milwaukee, but more importantly, winning one in Boston with his more media coverage. It wouldn't shock me if that changes a few votes and gets him a Defensive Player of the Year award in the next 2 years. So that's what I think what the end goal for Jrue Holiday could be. If he goes and gets a few more All-Star appearances with how slim of a standard it is to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame, maybe Jrue Holiday will be a Basketball Hall of Famer way down the road. But that's in F4. I think a lot of people think this question is going to be between on who benefits the most in the public eye from the Celtics winning a championship. I think a lot of people believe it's going to be Stevens and Tatum. For me, Tatum was 3. Don't get me wrong. Tatum got the championship. Tatum was already referred to, though, as a top 10 player in the league. At sometimes a top 5 player in the league. He did not win the Finals MVP. He shouldn't have won the Finals MVP. I thought it was the right decision to go to Jaylen Brown, but most of us already referred to Jason Tatum as a great player. Now, it's not to diminish this because it's still very important. He's a great player with the championship, but that's why for me, since he was already called a great player, I don't think in terms of the public eye and who benefits from this championship the most, that you could put Tatum in front of Jaylen Brown. Because Jaylen Brown, to me, is the second choice. And the reason why I put Jaylen Brown, too, is because I think a lot of us realize that even though we said Jaylen Brown's one of the better two-way players in the league, I don't think a lot of us called him a great player. Right? A lot of us thought he was overpaid last year, and a lot of us thought that maybe the Celtics should have traded him, and instead the Celtics rewarded him the largest contract in NBA history. What you saw from Jaylen Brown in the NBA Finals is a great player, and what Jaylen Brown has done, and now he's going to get more respect and more credit for it. He is a phenomenal two-way player. I will now call him a great player with this championship before I just said he's a very good player. And when the Celtics needed him the most, where I know Tatum and Brown both showed up and they combined for 61 points in Game 3. But once they had the big lead with that killer instinct and he threw that thunderous slam down in the third quarter of Game 3, and they gave the lead back, Jaylen Brown was the one, not Tatum. But Jaylen Brown was the one that hit clutch shot after clutch shot going back to that Game 3, which basically won the Celtics the championship because it propelled them to a 3-0 series lead. But number one, the person who benefits the most in the public eye from the Celtics winning a championship is Brad Stevens. Because Brad Stevens, if he doesn't win this championship, how do we look at Brad Stevens? Great college coach, right? Brad Stevens got Butler to 2 championship games, national championship games. He didn't win either, losing to UConn and losing to the Dukies. But when you look at Brad Stevens, he was a good coach in the NBA. He started with this core, and then he realized, whether he was forced or he did so on his own, which you tend to believe, that's up to you. Brad Stevens then got this role of president of basketball operations. And when he got that role, I did not think Brad Stevens was going to last that much longer in the Celtics organization. Because I thought Brad Stevens was either A, going to take another coaching job when it became available in the NBA, or B, go back to college. Brad Stevens, though, last year, after his team was down 3-0 to the Heat, got to a Game 7, Tatum rolls his ankle, and Jaylen Brown had like 8 turnovers and failed to show up. Brad Stevens had a decision to make. And that was, do you break up the Jays of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum? And you knew if he was going to break up the Jays, the one that was going to be the odd man out was Jaylen Brown. And there was this thought, maybe you trade Jaylen Brown, you get Damian Lillard, and you do all that. But Brad Stevens displayed an incredible amount of patience in Boston, which is not easy to do. In a passionate, loud, and demanding sports city, Brad Stevens displayed patience. And not only did he say we're going to keep this 1-2 punch together, he rewarded Jaylen Brown off a miserable Game 7 performance in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat with a record-breaking contract, the largest contract that the NBA has ever seen. And he elected to add to this 1-2 punch. He got rid of a fan favorite of Marcus Smart. He ended up getting Kristaps Porzingis, also got 2 first-round picks, and then used one of those first-round picks and also traded other players to go get Drew Holiday. Brad Stevens was also the one that pulled the trigger on the trade a few years ago to get Derek White, who was phenomenal for the Celtics in this run and is an incredible defensive player. So in this question of who benefits the most in the public eye from the Celtics winning a championship, you know, and you go through it, is it Al Horford? Is it Mazzulla? Is it Drew Holiday? Is it Jason Tatum? Is it Jaylen Brown? For me, it's Brad Stevens. Because Brad Stevens is going to have a place in the Hall of Fame one day. We know what he did as a coach at Butler, getting them to 2 national championships. He was a good coach in the NBA, but now as an executive, he made the right moves. He knew his group. He knew what he needed to add, and it resulted in an NBA championship. So that's how I order it. Who benefits the most in the public's eye from the Celtics winning a championship? Stevens 1, Jaylen Brown 2, Jason Tatum 3, and Drew Holiday 4. 855-212-4227. What say you on that poll question? You could also get it at Zach Gelb and at INF Sportsnet. Samter, just wondering, who is your top choice in this question when you examine the poll?
It's the same choice that is leading the poll by a significant margin. It's Jason Tatum. I think he's the biggest star in the team. He had the most on the line. He has the legacy conversation the most. Like, Jaylen Brown's great, and what he did with the MVP is great.
But he didn't play the best as a player in this series. Brown played better than Tatum.
No, but him now having that title, he's done everything in his career. He's still young. He's been to multiple finals. He's won divisions. He's had the best record in the NBA, All-Star games, NBA, all NBAs. He's done everything, Jason Tatum, except for winning like a regular season MVP and I guess the finals MVP. But Jason Tatum, he's the biggest star. You
were a little bit tougher on Tatum than others. Like you said, he's barely a top 10 player in the NBA.
So here's my question. It sounds awful saying that, but when you go through the list, it's not. There's so many good players in the NBA.
You had him at like 8 or 9, right?
Correct.
So you were in the range of 8 to 10 with Jason Tatum. Where do you move him up now? With this championship, where do you move him up now? Because for me, even if he goes from, let's say, 8 or 9 on your list to like 6 or 5, is that big of a jump? I don't think so. He was already considered a great player. He was already considered a top 10 player. So don't get me wrong. He doesn't win this championship. That follows him. It's like, Jason Tatum's a top 10 player, but he doesn't have a championship. So I'm not undermining the importance of that. But the question is, who benefits the most in the public's eye from the Celtics winning a championship? Just from the players. And my answer is Brad Stevens. But just from the players, I think it's more Brown than Tatum, because Jaylen Brown was viewed as someone that was good, very good two-way player. But now people are going to call Jaylen Brown great because he is an incredible two-way defensive player, and he was the Celtics' best player in this series in a team that brought Banner 18 to the Boston Celtics. I hate to pin Tatum against Brown today because they both won, and I thought it was very cool how they celebrated both the class and what they said after the game. And probably if you would have just asked me this question, I didn't give it much thought, I'd probably agree with you. It's Tatum. But the more I think about it, yes, the championship is super duper important to Tatum, and he wins a few more, right? That then puts him in a different stratosphere because he's a better all-around player than Jaylen Brown is. But in this series, Brown was the Celtics' best player, and I think that will put people viewing Jaylen Brown where it was always trade Jaylen Brown, trade Jaylen Brown. Now they'll give him his proper respect and refer to him as a great player.
Sure, but I don't think that I'm going to look at one series as the definitive factor of who's the best player. Like Andre Iguodala winning a Finals MVP.
Sure.
He was the fourth or fifth best player on those teams.
Yeah.
So like winning a Finals MVP, huge deal, right? And Steph Curry finally getting it was a big deal for him. But also, I'm not going to look back and be like, well, Brown won the Finals MVP, Tatum didn't, therefore Brown was the more important piece. No, he just had a better series. So for me, yes, maybe.
And he also won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP too.
And so maybe
Not
Tatum
just one series.
Tatum might have less of an opportunity to go up, but that's also because he's so far up already. And to every position, when you're in the top 10, every single position is a significant jump, as opposed to going from like 30 to 20. Going from 10 to 8 is a big jump. Same thing in the all-time list. If you're top 10 on the all-time list, that's great. But to get into that top 5, top 4, top 3, every single one of those spots in the top 10 is a huge deal compared to going from 30 to 20 or 20 to 15.
It is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Who benefits the most in the public's eye from the Celtics winning a championship? For me, it's Brad Stevens 1. It is then Jaylen Brown 2, Jason Tatum 3, and Drew Holiday 4. What say you? 855-212-4227. We'll take a break. When we come on back, after losing in the NBA Finals, how do we view Luka Doncic and how do we view Kyrie Irving? What do they need to change? We'll discuss that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty. That is the Zach Gelb Show. Day after the NBA Finals have come to a close. The Boston Celtics are world champions for the 18th time in their franchise history. I guess our pal Bart Winkler was all annoyed last night that the Celtics won their 18th championship. He's probably just upset that his Milwaukee Bucks failed to show up this year, which was very disappointing because I had high expectations for Giannis Antetokounmpo and also Damian Lillard, and then they stabbed the coach in the back, and then they ended up bringing in Glenn Rivers. But I saw that Bart Winkler last night, right here on Infinity Sports Network Center, said, quote, "It's the biggest gaslighting in sports history. You are being manipulated. You're being lied to. Do you realize how many of those titles have been won with 30 teams in the league?" And close quotes, because he was popping off that people shouldn't really praise the Celtics for winning Banner 18 because a lot of times there weren't, with some of those championships, there weren't a lot of teams in the league, like how many teams there are today. So I guess that's what Bart was cooking up last night on the Infinity Sports Network, as Bart just can never have another city or another fan base enjoy themselves. He has to rain on their parade because he's a miserable human being. And I love Bart Winkler, and he'll join us tomorrow on a Winkler Wednesday. Bart Winkler in the radio world is one of my closest friends that, in the radio business. But come on, Bart. Do we really need to have to freak out? Do we really need to have to be that network that right in the moment where the Celtics win a championship, you can't even have the common decency, Bart, to give the Celtics a little bit of praise? All righty, let me get to Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. So, Sam, do you tell me if I'm being fair or unfair? This is how I view Kyrie Irving after the NBA Finals. I view him as someone that was trying to sell us that he changed, but in reality, he didn't change all that much. Don't get me wrong. Kyrie Irving is back to being a great player. Kyrie Irving can be, once again, the Robin to a Batman on a championship team. The Mavericks do have a window here. But Kyrie Irving, in order to win a championship, has to make sure the Boston Celtics don't get out of the Eastern Conference. Because Kyrie Irving is a phenomenal basketball player. He could be a royal pain in the ass. Kyrie Irving, though, tried to tell us before the final started that he'll downplay the stuff with the Celtics. It's not really that big of a deal. He was a different person back then, and he has matured. But in reality, in 3 games in Boston for the NBA Finals, and I know the Celtics played great defense, Kyrie Irving, who is a great player, was only able to score 43 points. It seemed like Kyrie Irving cared more about getting into a fight with the Boston fans. It seemed like Kyrie Irving cared more about talking to the press about Boston than he did compared to actually showing up and balling out. And don't just tell me, oh, it's because of how great the Celtics played on defense. When you are a great player, you're supposed to have a pulse. You're supposed to show up and be able to steal one game when you get 3 chances to do so on the road. Instead, Kyrie could only score 43 total points in 3 games in Boston, and he didn't secure a single victory. So, the way I view Kyrie Irving, he is still an incredible player. We have not seen this Kyrie in a while because he acted like a fool in Boston. He acted like a fool in Brooklyn. And for 3-4 months, there were enjoyable moments that we saw on a basketball court with Kyrie Irving. But his kryptonite are the Boston Celtics. And whatever happens when he walks into that TD Garden and he sees that leprechaun on the court that he once stepped on, Kyrie Irving just can't handle, and he doesn't have the mental toughness to defeat the Boston Celtics. And I get it. Kyrie made one of the biggest shots ever in the history of the NBA Finals. But that's when he was on the Cavs going up against the Warriors. That required an incredible amount of stones. But when he goes up against Boston, he's just incapable. He is incapable of delivering in that building. His mind goes to a different place whenever he hears the word Boston, whenever he hears the name Celtics, and he's just mentally shot. So if the Mavs get back, they can get back with Kyrie. It's not going to be easy. The West is very good. But Kyrie has showed us he is more of a Robin than a Batman. And also, if he gets there again, can he win it again? Yes, as long as the Boston Celtics aren't there. So that's how I view Kyrie Irving. Now for Luka Doncic. And Samter, you talked about, right, the top 10 list with Jason Tatum and how he's on it. We know Luka Doncic is a top 10 player in the league. Quite frankly, he's a top 5 player in the league. He is so skilled. And it's amazing to me how he's that skilled. And I understand he was dealing with a bevy of injuries. But isn't it kind of crazy, Samter, where you have Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic, who both dominate the league. Nikola Jokic, the Joker, he has been sensational, right? He's been a 3-time NBA MVP. And then you have Luka, who is a top 5 player in the league. But both can be in a lot better shape. Like, look what they're doing now, both of those guys. And they're still not in the best shape possible. And look at the dominance. I think, and I know some of it could be attributed to injuries, but I think Luka, as the series did go on, and especially as the games went on, you got into the fourth quarters, he was tired. He was maxed out. He has to take care of his body better. And for Luka Doncic, he also needs to, like how Kyrie needs to get the Celtics fans out of his head, Luka Doncic has to get the officials out of his head. And this is something that we all knew going into the series was going to be something when you watch Luka, it was going to be insufferable because of how much he whines and complains about the officials. And that's why when Abby Chin joined us after Game 3, who covers the Celtics, she was like, hey, if you watch Luka, none of this is surprising whatsoever. So my message to Luka is get in better basketball shape and you will win a championship. And also, you cannot allow the constant bitching and complaining to affect you where it takes you out of the final few minutes of a game, which it did in Game 3. And I know he fouled out, but he was more concerned, like how Kyrie's more concerned about getting revenge on the Boston fans, Luka was more concerned in Game 3 about the officials rather than balling out on the court. So I think Dallas still has a window as long as Kyrie holds up his end of the bargain, which is a big if, and I can't give him the benefit of the doubt. But for Kyrie, he just has to, he is a Robin. He is not a Batman. That is clear. And Kyrie can't get back to the finals up against Boston or he's shot. And for Luka, you got to get in better shape. And also, you got to stop with the officials. Everyone can complain here and there about the officials, but you can't have it be insufferable and have it last throughout the entirety of the game, Mike. So that's my thoughts on where both those two guys are right now.
I want to agree with you about the Luka ref thing, but we've seen so many stars, like superstars, like Draymond, well, not Draymond being
Draymond's
a superstar.
not a superstar.
But Draymond being on a team, LeBron, a lot of these guys who whine and bitch about refs for years
Luka,
and
though,
years
isn't
and
LeBron.
years.
And also, LeBron has won 4 championships.
Yeah. So my point is
Don't
just
get me
that
wrong,
you
LeBron
can...
complains a lot.
Yes.
But LeBron wouldn't do it to a point where it basically takes him out of a game in the NBA Finals when you're down 2-0 and the series is right there and you can get back in that series.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right, but I've just seen so many NBA players whine and bitch to the refs that I don't think that that's a prerequisite anymore. I wish it was because I hate seeing it. It's just, It's so sad that they never commit a foul and every time they touch the ball, they get fouled and they just whine every single time.
But you can't have that
everything
overtake
else
you in
I
an
agree
NBA Finals. If you want to do that in game 76 of the regular season, or you want to do that in the first round of the playoffs, fine. When you're in the NBA Finals and you need to lock in down 0-2 and win a game on your home court, you can't let the officials take you to a spot that checks you out of the game.
I definitely agree with the other three things for sure. Kyrie cannot beat the Celtics. He will not exercise those demons. And Kyrie, you're 100% right. He left LeBron to find out if he was going to be a Batman. He wanted to prove that he could be a Batman. We've seen time and time again, Kyrie is a Robin. I agree with you 100%. And it is as definitive now as we've ever thought it to be.
No.
And that's it. He's never going to be the guy.
And Charles Barkley, right? He's the one with Kevin Durant that said some guys are the bus driver and then other guys are the passengers on the bus. Durant has showed, as great of a player he is, right? Top 15, top 20 player of all time, he is not a bus driver. Kyrie Irving has displayed life after LeBron, right? Leaving LeBron and then basically trying to get back with LeBron the last 2 years. He's not a driver of the bus. And that's fine. You could still win. You could still have an all-time great career. You could still be a Hall of Fame player. But there is a distinction in being a guy that leads the team and then a guy that needs someone else to lead them to go win a championship.
The one thing I'll say is Kyrie can still kind of be a bus driver. I feel like the Batman-Robin conversation is like number 1 versus number 2. The bus driver versus bus rider is more about a guy who can take charge and be a leader. I think Kyrie can still be a bus driver in that sense, just not the best player on the team.
Did you see him in Boston? Did you see him in Brooklyn? He's behaved for 3 months.
Yeah. But he's done well enough that I think that he can still be that guy. But KD just does not have that leadership. He doesn't have the ability.
And neither does Kyrie.
He has the talent to be the Batman, but he doesn't have the mental fortitude and mindset to be the bus driver. So I think that they're different conversations, but they're both interesting and connected.
It is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. By the way, I'm very distracted. First off, the clean-shaven Manny Rodriguez is here. I didn't even recognize who he was when he walked in.
I had to ask him to show his ID before he walked into the studio. It felt like some scrub, some fans just walking into the...
You look good.
Thank you.
You should stop with the mustache and the facial hair. You look a lot better and a lot younger right now.
It was a topic of a conversation. Aside from my brother getting married last weekend, I mean, my facial hair and the lack thereof was definitely a second big conversation at my brother's wedding.
Where are you from again? New York?
Yeah, I'm from Westchester.
Okay. And I went to school at Temple University in Philly. I get a text from Manny when he's drunk as a skunk at his brother's wedding.
That's right.
He's with someone that I went to school with who's what, best friends with your brother?
Yeah, Mark Mangold.
How about that?
Good old Mark, yeah.
That is a small world.
It is a small world.
I know Nick
yeah.
Mangold.
No relation.
Different guy, okay.
Yeah, different guy. But yeah, I mean, Mark and my brother are very close. Mark basically married into my brother's friend group. So
is that right?
So that's how Mark and my brother became close. And
I'm looking at this photo. I'm like, is that this guy Mark I went to college with, Mangold?
Yeah.
And Manny's like, yeah. And I was like, what the heck are you two doing
because I posted on my Instagram story a screenshot of us having a conversation probably about the Knicks, whatever.
Yeah,
and
it's probably when you were crying.
Probably.
Ooh, the Knicks got eliminated. My life is over. Wah!
Crying Carlisle, baby. But yeah, and he sent me a message saying, "Hey, I went to school with Gelb at Temple." And
probably got a lot of bad stories about me.
And then that's when I let you know about my connection with Mark, and sure enough, yeah, it's a small world, man.
So first off, you look good, clean shaven.
Awesome, thank you.
But the reason why I'm distracted is not only because you don't have the mustache anymore. And you're looking like $1 million.
Thank you.
What's this soccer game you're watching that you're going nuts
Yeah,
about?
we got Portugal against Czechia, which formerly known as the Czech Republic. It's the European
was that just
competition.
a penalty shot or something?
No, not at all. It was.
I thought there was a penalty shot.
No,
Free kick?
no fouls, no, nothing at all. Not
Corner kick? What was
there's,
going
there's
on?
actually been a handful of corner kicks
you
for
were
Portugal
like freaking
already.
out, it looked like.
I mean, Portugal, a couple of chances. I mean, you got Cristiano Ronaldo playing right now, and it's must-watch
Who?
television
No, I'm
every
just
time.
Kidding, I'm kidding.
Manny, I will say I did pitch to Zach today that we talked about Kylian Mbappe and his broken nose. He's missing the game against France.
Did you see the way that his nose was?
Oh, that's so awful.
Ryan, did you catch that by any chance?
I saw the blood.
Whoa! You have to take a look at what Kylian Mbappe's nose
Why?
looked like yesterday, because his nose was on the side of his face.
So I have to type broken nose?
Yeah, Mbappe broken nose.
You think I know how to spell that?
Mbappe.
Whoa. Take it easy. Slow down there for a second. How do I spell this?
Next on the Zach Gelb Show, Gelb meets Kylian Mbappe.
MBAPPE.
Appe.
He's one of the best players in the world right
Probably
now.
the best player in the world.
He's headed to Real Madrid next summer, or this
I see
season.
like half of his nose off to like the side of his face, but
Yeah.
I don't see a video.
You'll find a video if you keep looking. An unfortunate
Okay, here we
challenge
go.
yesterday. Yeah, I mean, he was going up.
He was heading the ball. Oh, I saw this.
Yeah.
He was heading the ball, then he hit the guy in front of him.
Yeah, it was a corner kick for France, and he tried to head it on, and it was a pretty nasty challenge, a legal challenge that just happened. And Mbappe was in the wrong place at the wrong time and caught a shoulder full of.
Did they win?
The French, yes, they did win. It was a 1-0 win after an own goal.
Is he going to play? Will he go face mask?
No, he's
TBD.
missing the next game against the Netherlands, which is a huge matchup.
Why,
I've been looking forward to that
Why
one.
can't they just put a face mask on him and let's go?
The
Have a
nose
little
was so
toughness.
badly injured that he had to have surgery on his face.
Well, actually, I did hear that there won't be surgery on his face, but the reports, he will be wearing a mask for the rest of the tournament. What was that?
He's missing a game?
Yeah, he will be missing Netherlands against the game against the Netherlands,
If
which
this
is
was
going
a
to be.
hockey player, he's missing a shift. That's it.
Well-
Get his ass back on there.
Well,
Put a mask on.
Listen,
The
the
difference
French
is
aren't
hockey
exactly-
players don't hit the puck with their face. Soccer players do.
Put a mask on.
I
He'll be
mean,
fine.
he's going to give it a shot. And it's funny because a lot of people.
Now back to 2020. I sound like put a mask on.
He has a resemblance to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle as well. So many people, if you
I'm seeing that online.
if
right
you
now.
take a look at some of the memes that are posted under his last tweet, a lot of people are saying, "Hey, you should wear a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mask."
Michelangelo's the only way to go. You're talking about Team NT, it's only Michelangelo.
By the way, what's my main man Freddie do up to these days?
Who knows?
He's probably doing broadcasting somewhere. His career fizzled faster than Manny's mustache.
Because that's my soccer memorabilia that I have.
Freddie Adu.
I have a signed Metro Stars T-shirt. I know he never played for the Metro Stars, but there was a thought maybe he was going to, I guess. And it's when he came in and did an interview with Mike and Chris Russo and Chris Russo, Mike Francesa.
There you go.
So you guys talk soccer. I forget everything about everything in the world. It just throws me off. And I got an autograph, Metro Stars.
That's
shirt.
pretty cool, though. That's pretty cool because Freddie
Freddie
Adu for quite some time was going to be
Did you see it? Oh, was it
the
Landon
next Landon Donovan.
by the way?
Dude, Landon Donovan.
So he got a hair transplant. First off, what an idiot. You want to get a hair transplant? That's fine by me. I'm not going to criticize you that. But the TV executives, I guess, told him that you weren't going to be shown. Like, people wouldn't be able to see what was on the side of his head.
So
How could you be that stupid?
If you looked at him straight away, you could not tell. But on the song, you can tell. So I blame the
There's a
producers.
camera.
I blame the
And
producers and the
people take
cameraman.
pictures.
I blame the producers and the cameraman. Right? Do not keep the camera on the front.
They did him dirty, but he's also stupid, Landon Donovan.
It's a combination of both. You don't go on, wear a hat. I'll try the same thing. Wear a hat.
can you wear a hat at a table?
And also, here's my thing. And I said this with Drew Brees and Jason Witten, too. You're on TV. People know you're balding. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right?
I mean,
you don't have to start throwing turf out of nowhere.
Landon Donovan was playing in the MLS with the Galaxy with a bald head. I don't know why he's trying to bro, embrace it, man. We know you. We know you're bald.
As many
So
as
just-
9 pounds of hair gel in his.
That's
on his
right.
face
Wax.
today.
I got wax. But
okay.
listen, Landon, brother, we already know that you're bald. And listen, just let it go, bro.
It is the Zach Gelb Show
Yes,
on
it
the
is.
Infinity Sports Network. Man, oh man, that was a lot of soccer. I think I reached my soccer quota for the year. So you guys are welcome.
Hey,
We'll have
you know
another
what?
half.
You got me back here. We're going to get a lot more soccer with you, like it or not.
And no chance. Remember whose name is on the show. We will not be doing much soccer. When we
Kylian
come on
Mbappe.
back, players who you enjoyed watching get the monkey off their back and win a championship. And no, I'm not talking about whatever was on the cabeza leading into the back of Landon Donovan the other day, because that was repulsive. Here he is, the clean-shaven Manny Rodriguez.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, Zach, we're sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. In the NBA, the Celtics beat the Mavs 106-88 to claim their 18th title, breaking a tie with the hated Lakers for most in NBA history. Elsewhere in the NBA, Jeff Van Gundy has agreed to a deal that will make him a lead assistant under Ty Lue's staff with the LA Clippers. The 62-year-old spent 16 seasons calling games for ESPN before accepting a role with Celtics president of basketball ops Brad Stevens last summer. There is an update on the robo-umpires in baseball. MLB sent a memo to farm directors indicating that all AAA games will use a challenge system on a full-time basis beginning on June 25th. AAA had been using a full automated ball strike or ABS system on weekday games while the challenge system was being used on weekends. In the challenge system, challenges to calls on balls and strikes are made by the hitter or catcher in real time, with the umpire receiving an answer via earpiece in seconds. In full ABS, every call was made for the umpire. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred has already said a change in calling balls and strikes wouldn't come until after next season. I'm Manny Rodriguez.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The fun continues on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is the Infinity Sports Network and the Defensive Player of the Week on the Zach Gelb Show, sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the armed forces. DoD veterans and their families, their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. All righty. What's going on? No, just what's going on? You could tell. We already stopped the show. What happened? You didn't update the Defensive Player of the Week? Okay. Well, I could give you the Defensive Player of the Week. How about Jaylen Brown for opening up a can of whoop ass on the Dallas Mavericks? There we go. Samter gets in my ear. Just don't read anything more. Don't read anything more. He's like, why are you doing this on the air? Why are you doing this on the air? I already stopped the show. You know, the bottom part wasn't updated. What's that noise? Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry, the bus was just backing up on Moist Mike. Sorry about that, Mike.
No, it's okay. I deserve it. Mm-hmm. I just forgot to update it.
Yeah, I was very confused. I was looking at you because I always say this about radio. Whenever the producer gets in your ear, I never could tell if it's on the air or off the air. So I think there should be a ding. So if you're speaking, Samter, and you're on the air, it's like ding, and then I could hear what you're saying. But if it's meant to be off the air, I have no clue the distinction between the two. Anyway. The Jays win a championship last night. Jaylen Brown and also Jason Tatum. And they got a monkey off their back because a lot of people thought this group was never going to win a championship. So let's go around the room and let's name a player that you enjoyed watching getting the monkey off his back. You know, I was between two. And the two that I was between was John Elway and Alexander Ovechkin. Now, Elway ended up getting two at the end of his career, and we all know he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and he needed to get one championship. He ended up getting two. But I ended up going with Alexander Ovechkin, who finally did break through in 2018 and did win the Stanley Cup as the Capitals did defeat the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And I think that was the Vegas Golden Knights' first year in the league, if memory serves me right. But Alexander Ovechkin is one of the greatest hockey players of all time, one of the greatest goal scorers of all time. We never thought that Wayne Gretzky's goal record is going to be broken. He's not that far off from the great one, but he's closing in on it. But I saw a photo recently of Alexander Ovechkin, who just played and had a good season this year. Alexander Ovechkin, man, He was playing pickleball, I guess, last week, and there was a photo that surfaced of him. He looked like all he does is eat junk food. He was very, very, very chunky. That's the nice way of saying it. And, man, if the season was to start back up tomorrow, I don't know if he's breaking Gretzky's goal record this upcoming season, but he is zeroing in on that. But Alexander Ovechkin, who, right, him and Crosby always compared in this era, and we know Crosby has multiple championships. It was good, even though I can't stand the Capitals because I'm a Ranger fan, it was good to see Alexander Ovechkin, with his significance in the sport, end up getting a Stanley Cup. Samter, who was yours?
I was deciding between a couple as well. I had Matthew Stafford as one of them on my list, LeBron on my list. The original Celtics big three of KG, Pearson, Allen, all three of those guys. But the one I settled on was Steve Young, mostly because there's the meme and the image of him actually getting a monkey pulled off of his back
on the sideline,
when they blew out the Chargers in the Super Bowl, like the most lopsided Super Bowl in history. Steve Young was one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen, and there was so much talk because he was following Montana, and he couldn't live up to Montana's expectations and all those titles. So him winning that Super Bowl was great, and that meme of them lifting the monkey off of his shoulders was pretty epic.
And by the way, Ovechkin needs 41 goals to tie Wayne Gretzky for 894 goals of all time.
What a hollow record if he breaks it.
Why?
Gretzky did things that no player in the history of any sport could ever even dream of doing. Ovechkin just playing an extra 10 years to catch that record. It's impressive, but Gretzky's records are just so untouchable. It almost feels cheap to do it.
I don't think it seems cheap, but what I will say is, because right now Alexander Ovechkin has played 1,426 games. Gretzky's played 1,487. So I wouldn't say it's cheap from the goal department, but the crazy part is if you take all of Gretzky's goals away, he still has the most points in the history of the NHL. Botcher, give me yours.
Okay, so you're going to hate this because it was during the COVID season, but Clayton Kershaw finally getting that championship with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Went 4-1.
Yeah, I feel like he needs to win another one with all the talent they have on that team.
He finally had a good postseason, you could say, with no fans, but every other team had no fans as well. So just to see him finally pitched under, I guess, lower than a 5 ERA in the postseason was good to see. So I was happy for him.
Yeah, I will say with Kershaw, who's incredible, obviously an all-time great. The thing I remember most from that World Series run is Rob Manfred not being able to hand up the piece of metal correctly because I guess he was getting the sound back in his ears, the reverb, from being in a stadium and talking with basically nobody in it or the few fans that were in attendance for the World Series day. All righty, coming on back, it is Zach Gelb Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
All right, away we go. Hour number 2 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I was just reading during the break that Justin Timberlake was arrested earlier this morning on Long Island, and Sag Harbor police said, this on CBS News, the pop star was charged with driving while intoxicated. According to court documents, Timberlake was stopped just after 12:30 a.m. after he drove through a stop sign at Madison Street and Germain Avenue in Sag Harbor. An officer allegedly spotted Timberlake drive a BMW through the stop sign and then failing to keep to the right side of the road. When Timberlake was pulled over, the officer said he was in an intoxicated condition and that his eyes were bloodshot and glassy. A strong odor of an alcoholic beverage was emanating from his breath, and he performed poorly on all standard field sobriety tests. I had one martini and I followed my friends home. Timberlake allegedly told the officer he also refused to do a chemical test. Two things here. Number one, I have no sympathy for people that drink and drive. My mother, I shared the story before, was once hit by a drunk driver when she was younger in life and went through her windshield onto the driver's car. And thankfully, she is lucky to be alive when that happened. When she was a teenager, and she was just starting to drive, and a drunk driver hit her head on. So I have no sympathy for people that after they drink that they get behind the wheel. But the thing I will say is, like, Samter, you're Justin Timberlake. God knows what your net worth is. And if you're telling the officer allegedly, I had one drink and I'm just following my friends home, how does a friend or how does someone there, A, not drive you home, number one? Or B, how do you not just leave your car there and you get an Uber these days? It's not like they don't have Uber in the Hamptons. I tell you they do. And, I don't think that Justin Timberlake can't afford an Uber. So that's wild to me. But the reason I bring this up is I saw our old boss Spike Eskin just tweet this out. I guess this is from a different article. And who knows if this is true with Spike. No, I'm just teasing a little bit. But Spike tweeted out that allegedly the officer that arrested him, because the officer was so young, did not know who Justin Timberlake was.
I don't buy it. It's impossible not to know who he is. Unless you're 12 years old, the cop
But
can't
then
be
you
that
wouldn't
young.
be an officer. Now, Justin Timberlake is 43. I'm 29. I turned 30 in August. Obviously, I know who Justin Timberlake is. Samter knows who Justin Timberlake is. Botcher, how old are you? 24?
22.
You're 22?
Turning 23.
Oh, my God. I did not know you were 22. I thought you were like 25, 26, just because, not that you look 25, 26, you're just so mature. But you're 22 years old. So it is possible that the police officer, right, let's just assume was 22 years old. If Botcher was a cop and you pulled over Justin Timberlake, and I guess if you're arresting him, you're at least seeing his ID. So you would see the name. Would you know who that is?
100%. There's not one person in America that doesn't know Justin Timberlake.
Well, obviously this cop did it.
Well, just because he's in children's movies now as like a voice actor. What is it?
Oh,
Trolls?
is he really?
He's in Trolls,
Oh, okay.
that kids movie. So the parents know.
You watch that every night?
No,
22-year-old?
never watched that. But he was a pop star and is still a pop star. Like he just put out a new
Not just
album.
a pop star,
Yeah.
like one of the biggest pop stars of all time.
In Sync.
And he's in like SNL all the time.
Yeah.
So like whether it's
Did
music,
the Super Bowl halftime show a few years ago?
like you know him from football, you know him from SNL, you know him from music, you know him from kids movies, you
Just
know him
being
from
a
adult
star?
movies, you know him from everything, you know him from the dating world, you know him from. There's no way that an adult human being in America does not know who Justin Timberlake is.
We are also told that the cop who pulled Timberlake over was so young that he didn't even know who the 10-time Grammy winner was. He didn't recognize him or his name, our insider says. Now, Spike posted this, so I'm assuming it's true. It's just like a screenshot from an article just with the text, so who knows if it's true or not. But that doesn't seem believable that you don't know who Justin Timberlake is. But think about this. And I have great respect for the police. I would not want to be a police officer. It's an extremely tough job. But think about this. Scottie Scheffler was going to the PGA Championship. Wasn't like he was 8 miles away. He was turning to go into the PGA Championship. He got arrested. The officer didn't know who Scottie Scheffler was. And Justin Timberlake was drinking and driving around in the Hamptons. He gets pulled over. The officer runs his ID and like, okay, we got to issue an arrest here on Justin Timberlake. After, like, it'd be one thing if you didn't see his name, right? There have been times I've seen famous people. I'm like, oh, I know this person's famous. I can't think who it is. If I saw Justin Timberlake, I would know it's Justin Timberlake. But if you told me, like, let's say he had some sunglasses on and he's wearing a hat, right, and a little bit of a disguise. But if I got to see his license and I read Justin Timberlake, I'd be like, holy smokes, this is Justin Timberlake. And how the officer didn't know that, that's wild to me. I didn't think anything would top the Scottie Scheffler thing, not knowing who Scottie Scheffler was when you're working outside the PGA Championship in Kentucky. But this tops it. You pull over Justin Timberlake when he was doing something wrong, allegedly. And the next thing you know, you get his license, his ID, and you still don't know that it's Justin Timberlake or who he is, Samter. That's wild to me. That's a moment, and I'm a young man still, but that's a moment where even I feel really, really old.
I'm just going to say, if you're a cop out in the Hamptons where there's celebrities everywhere,
Yeah.
and you don't know who Justin Timberlake is, That's a dereliction of duty.
Well, what's next? Paul McCartney is going to get pulled over?
But here's the thing.
And hold on, let me finish the joke.
Okay.
And someone's going to be like, oh, didn't Kanye West make you for that one song that you guys released together all those years ago?
That would infuriate me. Oh, but you know what?
Continue, though.
If a young cop didn't know who Paul McCartney was, I would at least understand it.
You got to know who Paul McCartney is.
Of course. But Justin Timberlake is so much more like...
He's 43, Justin Timberlake. Paul McCartney's 82.
Right. My parents know Justin Timberlake, and I am certain that my niece and nephew who are like 10 and 11 know who Justin Timberlake is.
How about this? Today is Paul McCartney's birthday.
Look at that.
June 18th.
Happy birthday, Beatles.
82 years old. Paul McCartney. Oh, I wasn't expecting that one. All righty. Next NBA star. We'll transition. This is why I love this show. Next NBA star to get his first title. We're going to do a little bit of a draft here, and this is based off the Jays winning a championship last night, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I'll ask you, Santa. You want to go first, second, or third?
I'll go first.
Botcher, you want to go second or third?
Third.
Okay, so I'll be smacked right in the middle. Santa, who's your first pick?
I'm going with the guy who showed like he's about to explode in the NBA, Anthony Edwards.
Ooh. Okay, Anthony Edwards is off the board. All right. I am then going to take a guy that just lost in the NBA Finals. He needs to get in a little better shape, and he needs to stop bitching with the officials, but he has now been to a conference finals. He then got back to another conference finals, got to a finals and lost. I will go with Luka Doncic. Botcher, you have 2 picks. Oh.
Yeah, I know how to throw something in there.
Good job with the music.
I was going a little insane.
I feel like I'm on a game show now.
Well, this is NBA music from...
I know.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel like I'm on a game show.
I couldn't find NBA Jam, so...
Yeah.
That's fine.
Like
It's
the 70s and 80s, theme songs were all felt like game show songs. Whether it was, sports or game shows, they all sound the same.
All righty. Botcher.
Okay. First pick.
Hey, welcome in. It's the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Ryan Botcher will have 2 selections here, and we will go around the room. 3 picks each. Who's the next NBA star to win a championship? Come on down.
Joel Embiid for me.
Wow. It's not a bad pick. Now,
They're one piece away.
Joel Embiid finally got to an NBA Finals, except he was a guest analyst, and he was crapping all over the Celtics, saying how much he hates Boston and how everyone in the East was hurt. Well, big fella. How about you stay healthy, and how about you get to an NBA Finals, actually beat Boston one time? And I like Joel Embiid, but my, I thought that was a bad look at the NBA Finals. All righty, next pick.
Shai
Botcher again.
Gilgeous-Alexander.
You son of a, you know what? I didn't think, see...
Just because it's OKC?
I didn't think you were going to pick him. I thought you were going to be stupid.
He was number 2 on my big board.
I still had to pick Luka over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So that takes Embiid off the board, SGA off the board, Luka's off the board, and Edwards is off the board. Anthony Edwards. All righty, my next selection. I am going to go Dame Dollar Time. Damian Lillard. Everyone's out on the Bucks. Everyone's out on Dame and Giannis. They were hurt this year. They had the whole coaching situation. I still don't like that Doc Rivers is there, but I will trust Damian Lillard. You got butts less. Damn right I do. I'll take Damian Lillard. Santa, you got 2 picks here. Give me your first one.
Now, a lot of the guys that we're going with are younger guys who, we think are going to, explode.
I like where your head's at with this one.
I'm going to go with a
I thought
veteran
about
who's
him
been
too.
close a bunch of times, and it looks like he might be on this team next year, might not be. Maybe he joins another team. I'm going Jimmy Butler.
Ooh.
Jimmy Butler will be the next to win his first NBA title of all the guys who have not won a title. I think he's been close enough. He's either leaving the Heat and will have a chance somewhere else, maybe with Embiid in Philadelphia or even in Miami. Jimmy Butler is my first of my 2 picks
I
here.
was not thinking Jimmy Butler. He's been to 2 finals before. I thought you were going to go with another Grizzly veteran. But who's your next pick?
So I'm going to decide between these 2 young Bucks. One beat the other in the playoffs, but I still think that the other guy is better. I'm going to go with Donovan Spider Mitchell. Spider Mitchell.
Now, that's assuming he gets off the Cleveland Cavaliers, right?
Yes, but with Mobley on that team, or Mobley, I don't know what I'm saying. They add another piece. Their rising team. They lost to the Magic, who's another rising team. But
They're
I
just
think
a good team, not a great team.
No, but I think if you add another piece, Mitchell is good enough. And what we saw with him against Jamal Murray a few years back, we know that he has a chance to really dominate in the playoffs. I like Spider Mitchell.
I threw a bunch of names on this list. I put 10 names on this list. I did not throw Donovan Mitchell on this list.
Why
He's
would
a
you
good
throw
player.
10 names on the list? There's 3-3. Never mind.
Yeah,
I'm
so
bad at
it's
math.
9. So I threw 10 names on the list, and then I had a pool of names to look at. So I could give the answers to my test because already off the board, Santa has Anthony Edwards, Jimmy Butler, Donovan Mitchell. I have Luka Doncic and Damian Lillard. And Botcher, who I found out is 22 years old today, has Joel Embiid and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Every time I hear Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I just think of one update anchor here that said Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I always butcher his name now. But on my list, Jimmy Butler was there. Now he's off the board. Paul George, maybe if he goes to Philadelphia this year. Victor Wembanyama, future pick. Devin Booker, if they could ever get things together in Phoenix. Is it Jalen Brunson? I also put him on the list as well. So I got to make a decision here. And you know what? I'm going to trust the San Antonio Spurs organization that it may not be in the next few years, but many years down the road that Victor Wembanyama gets the job done. I also consider Paolo Banchero.
That was the one. It was between him and Spider Mitchell for me.
Because the Magic are coming, and they just need more. Like, if they get Paul George, man, that's going to be fun. So I will go Wemby, because it also annoyed Perloff too in the meetings. Botcher, send us home. Who's your last pick? Your NBA star to win a championship.
The last hurrah for the Suns here. Go with Devin Booker.
You are.
He'll either make a deep run this year, or he'll
go
demand
somewhere
a
else.
trade and be set up to win another championship there, or win his first there. So that seemed pretty easy to take him.
No Jalen Brunson for you?
I don't think he's got. They're not going to trade him, of course, because he's on the cheap contract.
Hey, he could win a championship with the Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go!
I don't think so.
No? Party pool. My friend had dinner actually next to Jalen Brunson the other night. He was at the same restaurant that he was at, the same place that Jason Kelsey and his wife got into a little kerfuffle. At the table over, I think it was Mikal Bridges and Jalen Brunson were whining and dining together. And no, that's not tampering their friends together from Villanova where they won a championship together. You know, before people start freaking out and forget that there was basketball with Jalen Brunson in college before he got to the pros.
So this is a list of which NBA player who doesn't have a title is most likely going to win his first next.
Stars, yes.
Yes.
Anthony Edwards, Jimmy Butler, Donovan Mitchell for Samter, Luka Doncic, Damian Lillard, Victor Wembanyama for me. And Botcher goes Joel Embiid, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I can never say his name anymore. I will always
Just
mess him
SGA.
up. SGA and Devin Booker.
So here's my question. Since I got Ant, do I also get Cat?
Sure, but Cat's not like, is Cat a star?
I mean, former number one overall pick.
He's a good player. He's not
Multi-time
He's
All-Star.
not a number one on a championship team.
No, but he's like a very close to.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
No one's ever saying Karl Anthony Towns number one player in a championship team.
No.
So did we miss anyone is the question.
So the guys I have on my
Banchero.
list that we didn't talk about, you mentioned it. The only other two that you didn't mention, Tyrese Halliburton. The Pacers have been looking pretty good.
Two tones?
Yeah, freaking two tones. If you guys haven't heard that, Tyrese Halliburton has two voices that he switches back and forth from indescribably,
confusing.
just randomly within conversation. There's no rhyme or reason to it. He just has two voices. It's very odd.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton.
But, I mean, he's the star of that team.
and All-NBA third team this year,
Yep.
back-to-back All-Star appearances. He's good.
They almost made the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, they're one of
No,
those
they did
teams.
make the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They made the Eastern Conference Finals. They're just one of those teams that
He's
you
not
can
on that
kinda
list
see.
yet. He's not on that list.
No, I'm just saying he was towards the end. I had him 14 on my list, and then 15 was Zion. Just because, you know, when he's healthy, he could be a big enough star, whether it's
He
in
was
New
healthy
Orleans or
this
another
year,
team.
and they were 49 and 33.
Yeah.
You know who also, I don't think he'll win a championship, but I like this guy a lot, De'Aaron Fox.
Honestly, as soon as you said that, that's what I was thinking of.
And can I give one more name?
Sabonis?
No. If he could ever get things figured out, and he could stay healthy, Ja Morant.
What? None of us, I didn't even have, I had the top 15. I did not have Ja Morant on my list. The fact that he has fallen off so far.
He's out of sight, out of mind. He was suspended, and then he got hurt. And he was out for the season.
That's a bad job by us. That Ja
I don't
Morant
think it's a
should have
bad
been on
job.
this list. I would have taken Ja Morant 100% over Spider.
Hey, just as long as you take away his cell phone. Okay? Take away his cell phone, the guy can go win a championship. But until you take away his cell phone and try to take a...
Yeah.
How old is Ja Morant? Ja Morant's what, 22?
Like 24, I think.
Oh, is he? Ja Morant, yeah, 24.
Turns 25 in August.
So Botcher and Morant are very close in age. Botcher's 22, Morant's 24. How would it go if I told you could work here, Botcher, but I have to take your cell phone out of your hand, and you can't have your cell phone?
Well, that wouldn't be productive then, because just in case news does drop.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if that was the requirement, do you think you could survive without a cell phone?
Yeah, it's like school.
But you don't like it.
No, of course, nobody does.
It's annoying.
Yeah, but if someone was paying me $20 million to go to school, I'd smash my cell phone on the floor.
No, that's fair. You say that until you keep on checking your pocket and there's no cell phone in there, and that will drive you crazy.
Yeah, but then I check my pocket and I see $100 bills in there, and then I feel a lot better about it.
I'll take 2 of those. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a break. When we come on back, we'll update some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. We will get to a news brief next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
All right, let's hear from Jason Tatum as the Boston Celtics won an NBA championship last night. Here is Jason Tatum on Jaylen Brown winning the Finals MVP award.
The main goal for us was to win a championship. We didn't care who got Finals MVP. I know that I need him through this journey, and he needs me. So it was great to see him have that moment and share that moment with him. I'm extremely happy for him. Well deserved. That was big time. He earned that.
I don't know about you, Samter. I don't really remember there being a great obsession about winning the Finals MVP, and almost how people are trying to take it away from what Jason Tatum accomplished, which the main thing is to win a championship. And the only time I can really remember was when people held it against Steph, where people were like, okay, Steph has won 3 championships, but Iguodala won the first one, then KD won the other 2, and then he finally won that 4th one. Outside of that, I felt like recently, because of that, the Finals MVP award has been something that people have been obsessed about, and I think it's popped back up here, where some people don't love Tatum, and I don't get how you don't like Tatum outside of the fact that he's just on the Celtics, but the dude's a top 10 player. He finally gets that ring, and then people are going to say, but he didn't win the Finals MVP. Yeah,
I think more so than any other sport, because it's a 7-game series, and the NBA, the stars mean more, right? Like in football, it's the Super Bowl's 1 game, right? So you can have a guy like Larry Brown who has 2 interceptions, and you've never heard of him, but now he's the Super Bowl MVP. Dexter Jackson, right? So there's a lot of guys that weren't stars who win it because they just had a big game. Whereas in the NBA, even in baseball, right? A guy could just get hot for a couple of games, but in the NBA, the stars are the stars, and typically we don't have the conversation because the biggest stars who win the title typically have the best finals and win Finals MVP. I can't think of another big star who doesn't have a Finals MVP who has won a championship. Right, MJ has multiple, LeBron has multiple, Giannis, and Jokic, all the biggest stars have Finals MVPs because the big stars come through in the big moments.
If I gave you the Super Bowl, just because you brought up Dexter Jackson winning that Super Bowl, he had 2 first-half interceptions. Malcolm Smith, would you have got? If I said Seahawks Broncos, would you have got Malcolm Smith?
Yes.
You would have.
Yes.
Okay. You think you could name the last 15 Super Bowl MVPs if I gave you the Super Bowl matchup?
Oh, man. Maybe. I can get a few of them for sure.
Kansas City this past year. Who won the Super Bowl MVP up against the Niners?
That was Mahomes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Kansas City against the Eagles. Who won the Super Bowl MVP?
Mahomes?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you serious?
I mean,
I thought you were a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, Chiefs starting from this year, but not going back.
It was going back to this past year and the year before that.
This was my first year as a Chiefs fan.
Okay. Rams defeating the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Cooper Kupp.
Yep. Patriots defeating the Chiefs. Oh, sorry. The Bucks defeating the Chiefs.
Tom Brady.
There you go. Basically gave that away. The Chiefs beating the Niners the first time.
Mahomes.
Yes.
Okay.
The Patriots beating the Rams the second time in the Super Bowl.
It wasn't Brady because there was no offense in that game. The MVP was Edelman?
Yes, had 10 catches, 141 yards. The Eagles beating the Patriots, Super Bowl 52.
Big Nick.
That is correct. The Patriots beating the Falcons.
That was Brady.
Yes. Had 466 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Broncos taking care of the Carolina Panthers.
That was Von Miller?
That would be correct. The Patriots beating the Seattle Seahawks.
Was that one? No, that was too soon to be
Super Bowl 49.
Man. Brady?
Yes.
Okay.
He had one of the greatest fourth quarters you'll ever see against one of the greatest defenses of all time, the LB. I already gave you Seattle against the Broncos. How about that was Malcolm Smith. How about the Baltimore Ravens defeating the 49ers?
That was Flacco.
Yeah, I always thought it was the kick returner for a long time, and then I remember that it was Joe Flacco. So that's the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 3 more because I said 15. The Giants beating the Patriots a second time.
Eli.
The Packers beating the Steelers.
I don't think it was Rodgers. Was it Woodson?
No, it was Aaron Rodgers.
It was Rodgers.
Woodson
okay.
broke his arm or collarbone in that Super Bowl. And then the Saints beating the Colts.
Drew Brees.
And
no.
then
Drew Brees.
It was Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I'm very confident. Now, can I just do one more just because this will annoy you?
Yeah.
How about when the Steelers beat the Arizona Cardinals in the Super Bowl? When you were rooting for the Cardinals or working for the Cardinals?
Larry Fitzgerald. Or Darnell Dockett, who tied the all-time record for most sacks in the Super Bowl with 2.5.
So who won the MVP?
It was either Holmes or Roethlisberger. I'm going to say Roethlisberger.
Santonio Holmes, 9 catches, 131 yards and a touchdown. And yes, he got both feet.
No touchdown.
Here is Jason Tatum on winning an NBA championship.
It's a real feeling. Still hasn't really kicked in yet. Just trying, I guess, enjoy the moment. I kept saying, wow. These last 7 years have been a roller coaster. Up and down. I had to listen to all the shit about me. And tonight, it was worth it. Oh, my God.
Hey, Manny, when he says he had to listen to all the bleep about him, he could be referencing you there.
He absolutely probably
You said
was.
a lot of bleep about Jason Tatum.
I've said a lot of bleep about Boston, period.
A lot of ridiculous things. Why do you hate Boston so much?
Well, I'm a Yankee fan.
But I'm talking about in the NBA.
Because it's just being assimilated with that city.
I know, but like the Celtics, what have they done in your lifetime to the Knicks?
Only won 2 championships.
Yeah, but like
This historic franchise has only won 2
they didn't
championships.
prevent you from doing anything.
It's just Boston hates New York and vice versa.
like what?
I'm just asking.
No, I just don't
Because
have.
like you have like this macho man approach, like on social media.
Listen.
Screw this team, screw that team. Like, what have the Celtics really done in your lifetime to impact your team for preventing them from winning a championship?
I just do not have an affinity for the city
like
of Boston.
Yankee, Red Sox, I get. Knicks, Celtics.
Yeah,
in your lifetime,
it hasn't been
nada.
anything because the Knicks have been awful. But I mean, it's just the association with the city of Boston.
Okay, gotcha. Hater. Here is Kyrie
That's right.
Irving. What'd you say?
That's right, I am a hater.
Here is Kyrie Irving congratulating the Celtics after winning a championship and kicking Kyrie's ass.
When I was shaking everybody's hands, that was more of a sign of respect for their journey. They've been through an incredible 5-year span of going to Game 7s or losing in the finals. So they know what this bitter feeling feels like, being up here and answering questions about what this next year holds. And I think they used everything as motivation. They were healthy, and they really kept their head down and weren't paying attention to any of the personal accolades or individual accolades. I think they just came together as a team and were okay with each person being great in their role.
Yeah, and they also got you out of the building, which probably did help too. Here is Luka Doncic and how healthy he was for the NBA Finals.
It doesn't matter if I was hurt. How much was I hurt? I was out there, tried to play, but I didn't do enough.
I was out there, I tried to play, and I tried to yell at the officials. Okay, I hate the officials. I want to kill the officials. Let's go to Shams Charania. Does J.J. Redick already have a deal done with the Lakers? This was on the Pat McAfee show.
There's not an agreement as far as I know for J.J. Redick. As of right now, we're speaking right now almost 1:45 p.m. Eastern time. What this stands is J.J. Redick went into L.A. on Saturday and had in-person meetings for multiple hours with the Lakers brass, with Rob Pelinka, the general manager, vice president of basketball operations, ownership as well. I'm told his meetings on Saturday were very impressive. All the characteristics you see in J.J. Redick that you could envision in J.J. Redick, those all shine there. His status as a front runner to be the next Lakers coach has not changed since those dates. It has not changed now. They do want to have their head coach in place by the draft. The draft is next week.
Hey, Shams, did J.J. give you a back massage before? He told you all this information? Oh, I am rolling my eyes right now. Like, really? Oh, he gave an impressive interview. Oh, he was wonderful. Well, why is he qualified to be the head coach of this team? Why? Because he does a podcast with LeBron and he used to play in the NBA? And he is an arrogant, conceited human being? Oh, jeez. Give me a break. I've said this before, and Stu's coming back next week. And I will tell Stu this when the Lakers officially named J.J. Redick the head coach. I will be rooting for that team to go 0-82. I know they won't go 0-82, but I'll be rooting for them to go 0-82. Here is, all right, let me go out of the room here. Oilers girl that was showing her large breasts at the game. Botcher, you think she's a lovely woman, correct?
No, I don't care.
Just seeing the video.
Yeah.
You thought she was a lovely woman.
Yeah.
Samter, she got it going on, correct, Mundo?
Sure. I mean, with her jersey off, sure, but the rest I couldn't really tell. She's
gorgeous, right? In that video that you saw, that was the highlight of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I've already got a ring size for her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Stanley Cup ring.
You may not want to marry her because let's hear Oilers girl Kate. She has a message to fans. Listen up.
Oilers girl. Actually, my name's Kate, but here we are. So I've thought long and hard about what I wanted to say to everybody. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm at one of my favorite places right now. Come here to do some thinking, we'll call it. But I just wanted to say, you could be the most perfect, godly person in the world. You could save kittens from a river if they were drowning. Someone's still gonna hate you. So you know what? At the end of the day, I got drunk and whipped my out at an Oilers game and they went viral. You if you don't like it. Woo! Go Oilers!
Now, don't get me wrong. She still looks gorgeous with what she did reveal. But the mouth? Like, I don't mind if you curse, but how you getting this worked up? Like, who's criticizing you? Are people doing, oh, what about the children because you showed your girls at the game?
I'm sure in her town, wherever she's from, she's getting hounded. She's probably getting harassed by media. Fans are probably saying very mean or obnoxious things online. She's probably getting bullied and harassed all over the place.
Welcome to the public spotlight. 98% of the people are like, what you did was a courageous act. We love you for it. 98% of the people. So because 2% of the people want to troll you, you're going to release this video. I can save kittens from a lake. And people will still hate me? Wah! Oh, insufferable.
I love her even more for it. Like if I
just
didn't...
hated her. You were just like she was average.
No.
You and Botcher were like, nope, not interested.
I'm just saying.
Now you love
I couldn't fully tell outside of like what was going on underneath the jersey. However, her personality, she's awesome.
Yeah,
she is absolutely a badass. I love her. I love her putting up her middle finger to all the critics out there, all the people, making fun of her or calling her names or going
fun of her.
Not me.
Troll, Eggface 246789. And let me tell you something. If Eggface 24678969 wanted to tell me, that was intentional, pun intended. If they wanted to tell me that I sucked on social media or something, and I put out something that was similar to what she put out, like, that's what you're going to issue a video? That's a little fake outrage.
Kate, go do you, girl. I'm happy for you. I'm your biggest fan now.
Love her.
Manny's saying, please, I think she is, she's in a complicated relationship. I watched an interview she did with Spinning Chicklets, and it seemed like she was more on the single side than the taken side.
Complicated relationship with alcohol.
I've been in a complicated relationship with my favorite basketball team for
You
25
don't like
years.
this girl, Botcher.
She's annoying.
Oh, Ryan, come on.
Wait. What do you mean she's annoying?
You get hammered at a game,
Yeah, she
one,
did.
and then two, you make a fool out of yourself to get popularity.
Ain't a fool. I thought she looked great.
She
She looks great, but do you want to be known as the one that took her shirt off at the hockey game for the rest of your life?
She just said she doesn't care.
She doesn't care, but she's mentally broken down. You can tell. She's comparing herself
I'm not
to
trying to
kittens.
fix her.
She's comparing herself to people that are saving kittens.
Yeah, well,
She got drunk.
I thought the rant was insufferable.
What she did was save the ratings.
But hold on. I thought the rant was insufferable. But Botcher, I could tell, does not like this.
Annoying.
Annoying.
It's just, you shouldn't be famous.
Let me tell you, when they hand out the Conn Smythe Trophy tonight, it shouldn't go to Sergei Bobrovsky. It should go to Kate the Oilers girl. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. That is a news brief. Out of everyone in the room, I thought Botcher was going to be the biggest fan of Kate.
I, too, am disappointed.
Man, you going to try to find her on Hinge or something like that? Oh, wait, you already have a girlfriend, right? You don't have a girlfriend.
The silence.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, this is awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. This is awkward. I don't know how to get out of this. Oh, yes, I do. Here's Benny Rodriguez with the latest Infinity Sports Network update.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, Zach, we'll start this update in the NFL. The Falcons.
This update is brought to you by awkwardness.
The Falcons announced that owner Arthur Blank and former quarterback Matt Ryan will be inducted into the team's Ring of Honor. Blank will be inducted during the team's Week 3 matchup against the Chiefs, while Ryan will be inducted during the Falcons' Week 5 matchup against division foe, the Buccaneers. Elsewhere in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys have signed defensive back Garyon Conley. Conley, a first-round selection back in 2017 by the Raiders, spent 3 years out of football before returning to play in the UFL last season. And before his selection in 2017, Conley had been accused of sexual assault in a Cleveland hotel. However, no charges were ever filed, and he was found not liable in a civil jury. More in the NFL on the Adam Schefter podcast. David Bakhtiari said he wants to continue playing football. Over the last 3 years, he has played 13 of a possible 51 games as he tries to overcome multiple surgeries.
I'm not a reliever guy. I am your cornerstone guy and someone that's going to not only play from September, but into February, and then obviously, hopefully for another couple of years.
He was released by the Packers in March after 11 seasons with the team. I'm Manny Rodriguez.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Check out our new and improved website at infinitysportsnet.com. That's infinitysportsnet.com.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Pete Prisco has just released the list. It's his NFL top 100 players of 2024. Santer, do you think you can name the top 10 players in the NFL? Just wondering if I put you on the spot.
I can name most.
All right, go ahead. Give me. I'll tell you if they're in the top 10 or not.
Patrick Mahomes.
That's a big guess there. He is number one.
Christian McCaffrey.
What number do you think Christian McCaffrey is?
5.
He is 8th on Prisco's list.
Tyreek Hill.
What number do you think he is?
4.
Correct. He is 4th on the list. So you have Mahomes at 1, Tyreek Hill at 4, and Christian McCaffrey runs CNC. He is at 8. This is Pete Prisco's list.
I'm going to go TJ Watt at 2.
TJ Watt is not at 2, but he is in the top 5. He's number 5.
Okay, Myles Garrett. I would put TJ Watt above Myles Garrett. So I'm going to say Myles Garrett's 7.
Myles Garrett is 2nd. He has him as the second best player in the NFL. I am with you. I think you're splitting hairs.
So I had
between
TJ
Garrett
Watt
and
too.
Watt, but I would go Watt.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
You're missing one player in the top 5. In the top 5 already, you have Mahomes, you have Garrett, you have Tyreek Hill, and Watt, and they are respectively 1, 2, 4, and 5. So you're missing the third best player in the NFL.
Are we going Josh Allen?
Josh Allen is in the top 10, but he is at 6.
Trent Williams.
He is the third best player in the NFL, according to Pete Prisco. So you have Mahomes at 1, Garrett at 2, Williams at 3, Tyreek Hill at 4, TJ Watt at 5. You said Josh Allen 6, and Prisco had McCaffrey at 8. So you're missing the 7th, the 9th, and the 10th best player in football.
Are we going Justin Jefferson?
My man Jay Jettas is in at number 7. So he has, in front of Run CMC, just offensive players. Justin Jefferson, Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, and Mahomes.
All right, let's go.
So you need 9 and 10 here.
Man, let's go. Knowing Prisco, he's definitely going to throw a wrench somewhere in there. Are we going Max Crosby in the top 10?
Close. Max Crosby is 11th.
Ah, dang. Let's go Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow is not in the top 10. Let's see where Joe Burrow is. He has him at 15th. He said he was limited to 10 games in 2023 because of a calf strain followed by a season-ending wrist injury. The latter basically ending the Bengals' playoff chances. When on the field, he's a star, but he has to stay there. That's the only thing holding him back. Last season, Joe Burrow was 3.
I mean, are there any names, like really obvious names that I'm just missing?
They're not offensive players.
Okay. So I was going to go Travis Kelce as my next guest, but now that I know it's not that.
Now, let me tell you, Travis Kelce's not even the next Chief. Mahomes is one. The next
Chris
Chief
Jones, duh.
is Chris Jones at 14.
Oh, wow. So I'm surprised that Chris Jones is not in the top 10.
Travis Kelce is at 18. Travis Kelce is at 18, which is fair. He wasn't that great in the regular season, but he turned it up in the postseason. The whole season was basically dominated because he was dating Taylor Swift. So you got 2 names here.
I mean, are we going Josh Allen? Josh Allen, the Jaguar.
On the Jaguars?
Josh Allen.
No. I like good player, but top 10 player in the league, no.
No, I'm reaching here because Max Crosby's not there. Micah Parsons?
Josh Allen is at 23 on this list.
Micah
Jaguars.
Parsons?
That is correct. He is at 9.
Okay.
In at number 10.
Are we going my former boy, Sauce Gardner?
No, come on. Now, Pete has him ranked as the 12th best player in football.
So I wasn't far off.
Sauce Gardner's a heck of a player. The 12th best player in football? Come on. That's a little bit too premature.
So are we looking pass rusher? I don't think it's pass rusher because I named all the best pass rushers.
No, you didn't. You forgot one big one. One big one. Big one.
Khalil Mack?
Nope.
Trey Hendrickson?
Bigger.
Who am I missing?
You are going to be so upset when I say this name.
I'm looking at the sack list. Who am I? Oh, sorry. This is really dumb. He didn't have a huge year. Nick Bosa.
Yes. What, you looking at a list here? I thought you were going off the top of your cabeza.
I was until we got to those last 2 that I couldn't think of. I was just going. After I whiffed on Chris Jones and Travis Kelce, I had to pull up the defensive list to see.
Here's
who
my
I was
initial
thinking of.
reaction. Chris Jones does not get enough respect. He is 14th. Personally, with also you factor in championships too, and the clutch factor of a Chris Jones, I would personally put Chris Jones in the top 10 before Micah Parsons and Nick Bosa. That's just me. So Pete went a lot of defensive players here. Let's see. He in the top 15, Myles Garrett 2, TJ Watt 5, Micah Parsons 9, Nick Bosa 10, Crosby 11, Chris Jones 14. That's 6 out of 14 players. 14 players.
I will
6
say,
out of 15.
I will say, knowing Prisco, because I love Prisco, but Prisco likes to rock the boat and stir the pot a little bit.
But is he stirring the pot with any of these guys?
No, that's what I'm saying. Is
fair.
This looks like a legitimately just a good, solid list of 10 guys. I thought that maybe he'd have there's
no egregious gripe with this list.
No, nothing. There's nothing that you would say, oh, what are you doing? But that's kind of what you expect with these lists. There's always these lists that come out, and there's always some kind of clickbait little thing. Nothing here. Every one of those games, I don't think there's anything egregious there.
Let me tell you, his first 30 names, I'm just going through the list, pretty solid. You go through, I'll give you the top 30. Trent McDuffie in at 30. Quinnen Williams at 29. Chris Lindstrom, offensive guard for the Falcons at 28. A.J. Brown in at 27. Devontae Adams in at 26. Patrick Surtain in at 25. I don't think the gap between Surtain and Sauce Gardner is 25 and 12, personally. I think they're pretty damn close. Tristan Wirfs, 24. Josh Allen of the Jags, 23. Fred Warner of the Niners in at 22. CeeDee Lamb of the Cowboys in at 21. Aaron Rodgers in at 20. Dexter Lawrence, 19. Travis Kelce, 18. Penei Sewell, 17. Lamar Jackson, 16. Joe Burrow, 15. And then we gave you the rest. Jones, 14th. Chris Jones. Jamar Chase, 13. Sauce Gardner, 12. Crosby, 11. Nick Bosa, 10. Micah Parsons, 9. Run CMC, 8. Justin Jefferson, 7. Josh Allen of the Bills, 6. TJ Watt of the Steelers, 5. Tyreek Hill of the Dolphins, 4. Trent Williams of the Niners, 3. Myles Garrett of the Browns, 2. And Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs in at 1. Bach, you have something to say? You look like you were perplexed there for a second.
I just thought Fred Warner's a little low.
Little low?
Yeah.
22? I think that's pretty fair.
I think he could be like around 15, 16.
So who do you have that's egregious in front of him? CeeDee Lamb, Aaron Rodgers, Dexter Lawrence is a stud, Travis Kelce, Penei Sewell.
Rodgers won because he was out for the year.
Okay.
Penei Sewell
is a great.
He's a great player, but I think Fred Warner has a bigger impact than Sewell does.
I don't know. That's an offensive lineman. That's. I don't think there's anything egregious there. You know what? Give Pete credit. This is the first list that's out there. And, I would personally prefer TJ Watt over Myles Garrett, but it's not egregious. I think you're splitting hairs. Maybe you want the ordering inside the top 10, you can get on him a little bit. But I don't think there's anything that wild and nuts about this list. I don't, Samter. This is a pretty good list here.
It's a good list, a little bit disappointing because, you kind of want something,
I want
something more fun
to
to argue about.
Yeah, I want some clickbait. So tell Prisco he sucks. No, I'm just kidding. I like Pete Prisco. Yeah, I thought that there was going to... Oh, how about this? Jordan Love making an appearance in an 87. Brock Purdy, though, in front of him in an 85. Maybe that's where he is.
I'll take Jordan Love over Brock Purdy.
You did not make the top 100? Jonathan Taylor. Not on the top. Jahmyr Gibbs. Quentin Nelson. Just trying to look at a Matthew Stafford not in the top 100. I don't get how you don't have Stafford in the top 100. Let's see. Anyone else that's egregious? Nah. Did a good job. Bobby Okereke got an honorable mention. Friend of the show. Nice job by Pete Prisco. This is Zach Gelb Show. Infinity Sports Network coming on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Go. Hour number 3 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I'm going to give you right now my 5 people in college football are under the most pressure entering this season. First off, congratulations to the Boston Celtics. We spent most of the show talking about them. They have won their 18th championship in franchise history. Jaylen Brown, the MVP. You can get it on our poll question at Zach Gelb at INF Sports. My answer to this question, by the way, was Brad Stevens. But who benefits the most in the public's eye from the Celtics winning a championship? Brad Stevens, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday. Returns right now, Jaylen Brown, 7.2%. Drew Holiday, 16.2%. Brad Stevens, 29.7%. And then Jason Tatum running away with it at 46.8%. So we'll get back into the Celtics before we do say goodbye to you. But I want to do a little football here. And we're going to do the 5 people under the most pressure entering this season of college football. And we're doing this because not only did Urban Meyer say this, but Jim Tressel also went out of his way to extol the Ohio State roster. Here is Urban Meyer giving big praise to the Buckeyes roster entering this season.
As of now, this is one of the most talented rosters in the last decade, maybe ever. I mean, that's a big statement. They got to play, but you look at the quality of athlete at every position, I've never seen anything like it.
You know, don't get me wrong. Pound for pound, they probably have the best roster in college football this year. We have seen this before. Maybe it's more well-rounded than in previous years. But there have been some wide receiving rooms at Ohio State recently that have just been flat out ridiculous. And this one's a good wide receiving room. But that's just where I start. So probably the overall totality of the roster, that's probably the point that's being made there. But I kind of look at this Ohio State team, and it's not to take anything away from them because, hey, they haven't accomplished anything yet. But I go into the season and I look at them and I say, okay, there's now 12 spots to get into a college football playoff. And your rival in Michigan, who has defeated you the last 3 straight years, they're now without their coach in Jim Harbaugh. And they just lost so many players to the NFL after having a great run for 3 years. Like, I don't want to hear right now how great the roster is for Ohio State. They've had great rosters the last few years. And they haven't been able to get the job done up against Michigan. So that's Urban Meyer already pumping up this Ohio State team. Let's hear Jim Tressel do the same.
I don't know if I've ever seen that many great players in that building all at once. Every position, every place you turned. And so Ryan's done a great job. Ohio State has done a great job.
Give me a break. Ryan Day has done a great job. Don't get me wrong. Ryan Day has a tremendous win-loss record. But once again, this is not any school. This is the Ohio State. I know they're talking about recruiting, and Ryan Day is a heck of a recruiter, and he's only lost 8 games since being the head coach of Ohio State. He's 56-8. But the last 3 years, this team has been beaten down by Michigan. And that's the standard, to beat Michigan and go contend for a national championship. So if you want to say maybe this is the best Ohio State roster, you could say that. You could be my guess. But when you look at like all-time college football teams, Samter, just off the top of my head, that LSU team, Miami, right? Those were better rosters when you just look at the totality of the roster. I'm not saying Jim Tressel he's saying in that building. So he's talking about at Ohio State. But, I'm not going into this season saying this is an all-time great or has the potential to be an all-time great roster in the history of the sport. Now, you look at Ohio State, there's a ton of pressure on them. And when I give you the 5 people that are under the most pressure in college football this year, Ryan Day is at the top of that list. Because Urban Meyer had Ohio State humming. It wasn't even a rivalry really anymore between Michigan and Ohio State because it was so lopsided. Ohio State always would beat them. And Urban Meyer never lost to Michigan. But the last 3 years, Michigan has not only taken that rope, but they have fully grabbed on to the entirety of the rope. And now you got to go win it back, and there's no excuses this year. And I know people are going to say, oh, they'd be crazy to get rid of Ryan Day. And, you just lay out everything I just said, where he's been to a national championship game, but he's 56-8. He's 56-8 as a coach. Tremendous record. But when you've lost 3 times to Michigan, and it's been the last 3 years, you got to beat Michigan this year. But really, there's 3 games on the schedule this season, Samter, that I look at for Ohio State. And this is my larger point why I hate the 12-team playoff, because it made the regular season so much, it just made the regular season an incredible amount of fun because it felt like they were all these big games that would mean something. Ohio State, they could lose 2 or 3 games. They're still going to make a 12-team college football playoff. And I'm not saying they are. I think Ohio State is the best team. I would say Ohio State or Oregon is the best team in the Big Ten. You forget that Oregon is no longer the Pac-12, and now they're in the Big Ten. And you got to remember, Dylan Gabriel is now the quarterback of Oregon, and he's replacing Bo Nix. And when Bo Nix got there from Auburn, he didn't have as much success and consistency in college as Dylan Gabriel did. Now, Oregon lost a lot of other pieces, and Dan Lanning's got to win a big game. So there is pressure on Dan Lanning. But you look at the Ohio State schedules this season, Samter. Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall, the first 3 games of the season. Michigan State and Iowa. Those are the first 5 games of the season. The first legitimate Ohio State game on the schedule is in week 6, and that's at Oregon. Then they play Nebraska. Then they're at Penn State. We'll see if Penn State can finally get moving in the right direction this year. Purdue, Northwestern, Indiana, Michigan. There's only 3 games on the schedule for Ohio State that really make me go, ooh and ah. And I understand even in the 4-team format, I may be saying the same thing. But when you have a softer landing spot, like you could afford to lose 2 out of those 3 as long as you don't lose the Michigan game. Like if they beat Michigan and they lost to Penn State and Oregon, I'm not saying it wouldn't be disappointing. It would, but they're still going to be a college football playoff team. A 2-loss Ohio State team is every time, 10 times out of 10, is going to get into a 12-team format. And that's why I'm just against this 12-team format. And I'm not saying you had to stay at 4. If you wanted to expand, you could have expanded slightly to 6 or 8. But 12 takes the awesomeness out of the regular season. But going into this year, there's no doubt about it, Mike. I don't think there's a bigger name. I'll give you my other 4 in a bit. But there's not a bigger name in college football under more pressure than Ryan Day. Because I don't know if he's going to get fired, but if they lose 4 years in a row to Michigan, especially when Harbaugh's no longer there, my oh my. You think there are some people now with the Buckeyes that are turning on Ryan Day. That's only going to grow louder, especially when Tressel and Urban Meyer didn't help here. They're telling you how great this roster is, which that could backfire and blow up in your face.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody close. Like, I'm kind of going down the list myself. I mean, Ryan Day has so much pressure. And like you said, Michigan, this is the year, right? They've lost so much talent. If you're going to beat Michigan, this is the year to do it with the first-year head coach and a lot of guys going to the NFL. And if they can't win this year, then this is the end for Ohio State.
For Ryan
Day.
Yeah.
If they lose to Michigan this year again and they struggle throughout the season, then that's it for Ryan Day.
I'll give you my 5 names. Going into the season, I think these are the 5 names under the most pressure. You tell me if I left anyone off the list. In at number 1, it's Ryan Day. In at number 2, it's Quinn Ewers. And the reason I put Quinn Ewers there is I get it. He just got to a Big 12 championship. I know they're going into the SEC. They're in the SEC this year. Sark has done a good job there. But Quinn Ewers, I think, is under an incredible amount of pressure because the last 2 years, even though he's played well, he's been hurt. But if you get hurt this year or if you struggle out of the gate, then the biggest domino potentially in college football does fall where we get to see Arch Manning get onto the field. And for Quinn Ewers, this is your last hurrah. If you play great, maybe you're a first-round pick. You know, you have a chance to win a national championship this year and really cement Texas. They were back last year, but really being back. You know, I think Quinn Ewers is under an incredible amount of pressure because the Arch Manning factor, too. Last year, if Quinn Ewers got hurt or if, like, let's say he didn't play well, Malik Murphy was listed as a second quarterback. Now Malik Murphy's at Duke with Manny Diaz, my BFF. So you have Arch Manning elevated to the second quarterback spot. There will always be a contingent of people at Texas, regardless of what Quinn Ewers does, that wants to see Arch Manning because of how long he's been talked about in the public spotlight. I think there's a lot of pressure this year on James Franklin. You know, if it was a 4-team format, you could survive not getting in the college football playoff. But if you can't make the college football playoff in a 12-team format, and Drew Aller did not look good last year, and there was a lot of hype with his quarterback in Drew Aller, then, man, we need to – I know he just got a contract extension, and anytime a job opens up, his name, you know, his great agent, his name always gets thrown into the mix. But then we have to reevaluate the conversation with James Franklin in Happy Valley. And at 4, I think it's Coach Prime. You know, Colorado's not going to get rid of him, obviously, if Coach Prime doesn't have a successful season. But last year, they started off 3-0. They only won 1 game down the stretch. And you had a bunch of people leave that program now. And he told you there was going to be turnover. But we're trying to figure out how successful the Coach Prime experience can be in Boulder. And will it lead to something else, like him going to a bigger job? And they're in the Big 12 now. And you have Travis Hunter. You got Shedeur Sanders. You revamped your offensive line. I want to see how much of an improvement there is for Coach Prime. You know he's going to be still one of the more talked about people in college football. And then finally, it's Kalen DeBoer. Replacing Nick Saban, obviously. We know he could coach. He was just in a national championship game at Washington. But if it would have been, let's just say, Kalen DeBoer taking over in a 4-team playoff, and let's say you lose a game or 2, Alabama fans are used to a certain standard, but people aren't going to turn on you after that. You know, and I'm a huge Kalen DeBoer fan, and I think he'll win a national championship eventually at Alabama. But in year 1, you bare minimum need to make the college football playoff at Alabama. If you don't make it in a 12-team format, man, that's going to be an ugly, ugly, ugly look. And it's going to be tough to try to sell people believe in you, even though you just took Washington to a national championship game a year ago. And I get it, year ones are always tricky, but you got to bare minimum make college football playoff in year one now going to 12 teams. So that's the 5 people in college football I think are under the most pressure. Ryan Day 1, Quinn Ewers 2, James Franklin 3, Coach Prime 4, Kalen DeBoer in at number 5.
A couple names that I don't disagree with your list. I think all 5 of those.
Just give me name by name and let me react to it. Go ahead.
Okay, first one, you said Coach Prime. I think Shador is under a huge amount of pressure because not just a job, but I think Shador. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think still most people look at it as Coach Prime first. So that's why I ended up going with Coach Prime. But you also have the NFL draft with him potentially being the first quarterback off the board. So, yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's a lot at stake for Shador.
He has more at risk. Like you said, Deion's not getting fired.
Yeah.
It's kind of reputation. Shador has a lot on the line.
Sure.
You also mentioned Ewers. I think Sark. Sark made this decision to bring Arch Manning in, recruited him, and he's kept Ewers around. I mean, if Ewers struggles or is good or if Sark doesn't do great in
won
the
a
SEC.
Big 12 championship with him last year.
Right, and went to the playoff. Love it. But there's all that kind of conversation, especially the move to the SEC. I think Sark has a lot on the line for himself as well with that quarterback controversy.
They just gave him a new contract, though, after he was Florida.
It's not about getting fired. I think it's more just about making the right decision about having 2 top-level recruit quarterbacks, which is tough to deal with. Lincoln Riley.
That's a great one. Here's the problem, though. I have been a little more critical earlier than people were on Lincoln Riley after the last 2 years of having Caleb Williams at USC. And you lost in the Pac-12 championship game. And then the following season, you couldn't even sniff a college football playoff spot, let alone the Pac-12 championship game. I'm not saying there's not pressure on him, but I don't really expect anything out of the Trojans this year.
I got 2 more quick ones. We'll go with the quarterback, Carson Beck. They went back-to-back titles with Bennett, and then Beck comes in with all these expectations. And granted, they were the best team in college football all year long, but they lost that one game that mattered, and they missed the college football playoff, and they did, and that chance to three-peat. So
I'll tell
Carson
you this,
Beck has a lot on his shoulders.
They will not miss the college football playoff this year.
No chance.
They probably will win the SEC. And I would be very surprised if Carson Beck is not in New York as a Heisman Trophy finalist.
If Georgia is not one of the top 12 teams in the country this year, then
Fire Kirby Smart.
I will give you my next born child if there is one.
Oh, why would I want your next born child?
I don't know. I'm betting big.
How about a steak dinner?
Yeah, there you go. And the last one I have for you is a guy who has a lot of success, but he hasn't embraced the transfer portal at all, and he's really seen his program fall out. Dabo has a lot of pressure on him.
So it's funny. I was once shredded on a Clemson messenger board because years ago I said Dabo's arrogance is going to cost him at Clemson because he's not embracing NIL, he's not embracing the transfer portal, and I got slammed for it. Dabo, here's the thing with Dabo. Are you just going to be fine and content making the college football playoff? Because in a 12-team playoff, you could win the ACC and or have 2 losses a year and have a chance to get into the college football playoff. But we knew what your incredible rise was at Clemson. It was getting to the championship games, winning championships. And I don't see Dabo winning a championship again at Clemson. I don't. And I hope DJ Uiagalelei, who's now at Florida State, kicks Dabo's ass this year when they play. I don't know when that game is, Clemson, Florida State, but that, to me, just like, there are certain games that you don't want to miss in college. It's October 5th this year. October 5th, that game is at Florida State, too. A little road trip maybe for the
They
show.
open the season versus Georgia. Clemson does. Oof.
Well, that's the thing. Oh, bro. I don't even know what the spread is for that game yet. I'm sure there's a spread out there. I don't care what the number is. I'm laying the number on August 31st on the Bulldogs.
That's a pissed-off Bulldog team that is coming into the season with a lot to prove.
Here is the Clemson schedule this year. You play Georgia, then they have Appalachian State, NC State, Stanford, Florida State, Wake Forest, Virginia, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, the Citadel, and then South Carolina. Louisville, Brom, fine. Did a very good job last year. It's really, there's NC State, Doran's always a good coach. That's Georgia and Florida State early. You got two big games early on in the season. And then after that, there's not like another game that I'm personally saying, I have to tune in to watch Clemson. But whatever that spread is, Clemson and Georgia, give me the Bulldogs. Go Bulldogs! Absolutely. I love Georgia in that game. But Dabo's definitely one. You know what? I mentioned him, but I didn't put him on the list. Dan Lanning. I know that, right, people love him at Oregon and Eugene. He didn't beat Washington last year in the 2 times they played. And you have a team, I really think Oregon can win a national championship this year. But they got to win the big game. They've won games, but you got to win the big game. So maybe I would put an honorable mention for Dan Lanning and the Ducks of Oregon for people under the most pressure this year in college football. All right, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a break. When we come on back, the Nuggets won the championship last year. The Celtics won the championship this year. Who will win the next championship, though, and secure their second championship with their current core in Denver and Boston? Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The fun continues on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is the Infinity Sports Network. It is the Zach Gelb Show. Sam, do you stretch your hamstrings today? Just wondering.
Not yet.
You should.
Uh-oh.
I'm just saying. I don't want you to be tight for our kickball game because we're closing in for a Deion Dawkins charity kickball tournament that we have informed a Infinity Sports Network team. And that's coming your way next week on June 29th. It is a Saturday. So right now, here's the team. We have 2 spots still. It's myself, Maggie Gray, David Mayernick, Andrew Perloff, Elijah Stewart, Carlos Ortiz, his wife Daisy, Samter, my buddy Michael Zahn, and then one of the sales guys, and Rob Breck. Now hold on, we may have some breaking news. Perloff just texted me his wife may be in. We'll find out tonight. So maybe we'll have Perloff's wife join the squad. Does your wife want to play, Samter?
No, but maybe Alexandra might be down. She's learning how to kick.
That's your daughter?
Yeah.
You got to be at least 18 for the kickball tournament.
She's 18 months. Does that count?
She could give us like
does
bench
it say
warmers.
18 years or is 18 months sufficient?
I am 18 years old, or in bench warmers, I think it was I am 12 years old. Bachu, you want to play in this kickball tournament?
I have a
too big time for us?
graduation
Well,
party.
who's graduating?
My friends from college.
Okay. Gotcha. The friends that told you a few weeks ago?
No, separate friend. This one's actually a good friend.
Okay, gotcha.
They're not going to
fans that
be
let you at the
45
train
minutes.
tracks for
No.
like an hour late? Now, Manny, what happened to you? You got some open time. We just found out in the last update. Why aren't you playing in this kickball tournament?
It's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
I'll be here.
If I could get you off, would you would you be interested?
Not really, because
then you lose out on the dinero.
Yeah, I lose out on this shift right here.
I remember when there was people here that just did things for the betterment of the shows around here.
Okay.
Just always for financial reasons.
Any other day, I would have been there.
That wasn't a shot directed at you. That was at
seemed...
Manny. I'm disappointed in Manny, and I'm disappointed in Boyle. Those were the 2 people that I thought were going to step up to the plate and deliver. But you 2 rats don't even participate.
Listen, I can't speak for Patty Boyle because he was trying to make some plans on that Saturday, but I can tell you that the reason I can't go out with Pat Boyle is because I'm over here.
Wait. Are you telling me Boyle lied to me? Boyle said he's working here. He said it would have been an honor to participate, but
is
he's
he working? I mean, I don't know when Pat's working. I barely know when I'm working. So, I mean, there was a group chat that was started from down the hall who were thinking about maybe going to go watch some soccer games on this Saturday. But
really?
But again, I mean,
who were the rats in there?
I'm out.
Gallo?
I think Gallo started the whole conversation.
Bastard. Yeah. He came up to me yesterday and he goes, "Bro, I would have loved to have played in the kickball tournament. Really appreciate the invite. I'm just busy that day. I can't make it."
Check that. It wasn't Gallo. It was Zoo who actually started the.
Big Zoo.
It was Zoo who started the group
I wasn't
chat,
surprised.
So.
Big Zoo said
they're gonna start taking your kneecaps, Manny.
Yeah, I know. I should shut up, right?
Yes.
It's the botcher, please. Who else was on that group chat?
Oh, dear.
Give me the whole rats.
You want the whole list?
We know this. Manny would not be trusted. Would not be trusted if he was in the mob.
Yeah, whatever. Anthony Gallo, Big Zoo, Colton Gesser, Pat Boyle, and you familiar with one Stu Kovacs?
Wow! Now hold on. When is this, on that Saturday?
Yeah, they were talking about going to go
and
watch some
Stu
Saturday
in or
morning.
out?
Well, Stu is out on Saturday. He would be in on Sunday.
Okay, the tournament's on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Stu said to me when it happened, he goes, the date won't work for me. I think it's his mom's birthday. So that would make sense that he couldn't make it on a Saturday. So is this soccer thing, this game that you're going to watch, is it on a Saturday or Sunday? I'm a little bit confused.
Well, it's a whole tournament. It'll be on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, there's multiple. It's the Euros.
When are you guys going, though?
Looks like it will be Sunday. Looks like the group chat is telling me that's Sunday.
So
but again, I can't on Sunday.
So on Saturday is when the tournament is.
And
our
Sunday.
Kickball
Oh, yes.
Not your stupid soccer game watching.
Kickball, soccer, come on.
The Euro soccer stupid. Our kickball with Deion Dawkins,
A
not
lot
stupid.
more important.
Come on, you
good
already
to know.
know, man. You already know that the soccer is bigger.
A lot more important.
We'll have a similar audience as to the Euros, I
You
would
know who I
imagine.
actually did invite? Because I'm a team player and I'm a company guy.
Spike Eskin.
No, I did not invite Spike. I would have no problem inviting Spike, but I don't think Spike would be good in kickball, to be honest.
So you're scouting.
Well, no, Spike just got a hip replacement. That would not be good. I extended the olive branch to one person around here who has not always been the kindest. I did extend the olive branch to one person around here. Botcher, who do you think it is?
Tingus, Kristaps Porzingis, Ark Manning. Is it Jack?
No.
Oh.
I did not invite Jack. I probably should have invited Jack. I don't think I could have dealt with 3-4 hours of Jack's third.
Is the name similar to a TV show, The Good Shepherd?
That would be correct.
Mr. David Shepard
Shep
getting the
claims
invite.
he's this incredible athlete.
And
So,
coach. He doesn't have to play. He can coach. If he's going to coach LeBron for the Lakers, he can coach us in kickball.
Hey guys, how you doing? We about to play kickball here. Santa, you're gonna use that leg, and you are gonna be the greatest kickball player ever. You're gonna be the most ruthless and heartless champion in the world. Nobody can.
You just
stop
turned
me.
into Mike Tyson?
I'm the best ever.
He actually started out as Michael Jackson, then went to Mike Tyson.
So I did invite Shep. This is the message I got back from Shep. Lose my number. No. Shep said to me, hey, Gelb, would love to. If I can, might conflict with something, though. I'll definitely let you know by the end of the day. So I'm not holding my breath. So it looks like that 11 spot's going to go to Perloff's wife, and then we'll figure out who's going to be the 12th spot.
I'm just telling you, Alexandra's available, and she knows how to kick a ball.
I would love to, but rules are rules. You know, I'm not cheated. I'm not like the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to follow the rules here. I'm not like the Miami Dolphins.
Is this a legal issue that you can't be like under 18?
I guess so.
Or is it like a talent issue? Because you could have people breaking hips in this.
I think it's a legal issue with the people organizing the event.
Yeah,
we're all basically going to sign a waiver that if we die, that they're not liable.
I'm significantly more likely to get hurt than my 18-month-old daughter, though, I'll be honest.
So Perloff, actually, yeah, you're not wrong on that. She probably walks better than you and runs better. Perloff, though, was thinking of bailing. Did you hear about this? So Carlos was on this show we were talking about last week, and I was giving my breakdown of everyone's ability. He pulled that audio, that rat, and he goes right to the morning show, and he starts playing it for them. Now, I didn't say anything that was, like, offensive. I didn't say anything that was, like, rude. I just said I thought Perloff's going to get hurt, and I think Maggie's going to be a stud. That's all I said. It wasn't anything out of the craziness. And Perloff goes, I'm not going to bail because Zach would never let me down. Let me live it down. But he said he got invited to some a fancy schmancy party in the Hamptons. And he was thinking about bailing, but he said he couldn't do it. He didn't have the heart.
Timberlake?
Tell me. Who?
Perloff? Timberlake?
I don't know if that's a good day to make this joke. Especially that Justin Timberlake just got arrested.
I think it's a perfect day to make that joke.
I don't know. That's a little too soon for me. That's it. You know, as Randy Jackson would say, that's a no for me, dog.
Cry me a river, man.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow. Have you seen the mugshot?
Of Justin Timberlake?
Yes.
No.
The mugshot is out there. His eyes are bloodshot.
So this wasn't just one drink like he claimed he was having.
I mean, apparently the guy said that he was having trouble walking from toe to toe. He was clearly inebriated.
How does this moron not get an Uber? Oh, my God.
Yeah, his eyes are as red. Now, maybe he was crying.
He looked like he looked like someone just broke up with him. He looked like it looked like he was taking the alcohol and doing eye shots, honestly. Or he looked as if maybe he rolled up, as Pharrell would say, roll up a fatty. It's Pharrell on the bench. Maybe Justin Timberlake's rolling up a fatty. Shake it up. Like, that's what he looks like as well.
You know what you can say to a couple of points on his driver's license? Bye, bye, bye.
Yeah. Wow, these jokes are cheesy, man.
Like the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, which she was on.
Justin Timberlake, we would take him on the kickball team. We probably have to get him a driver, Samter, but we would definitely take him on the kickball team. There is no doubt about that, right? You would still play with Justin Timberlake on the kickball team.
Justin Timberlake is like one of the 5 human beings on this planet that I would, most want to spend a night or dinner or hang out with. Yeah, Justin Timberlake is my dude. So absolutely, he can be on my team anytime.
Yeah, I think my Shep sounds, Daly is right. My Shep sounds more like Adam Sandler with Bobby Boucher.
The Waterboy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear a little Waterboy, but I was hearing more Michael Jackson into Mike Tyson.
Bobby Boucher and his daddy on the ESPN. Gatorade.
My mama said that. My mama said
you're the devil. She won't let me play no foosball.
Anyway, before we get to the topic that we were supposed to do here, Santa revealed something to me. Your family friend is Jackie from the Real Housewives of New Jersey? Is that right?
That's correct.
How is that?
My brother's wife, she was her maid of honor.
Your brother's wife's maid of honor was Jackie from the Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Now, she was definitely a bridesmaid. I believe she was the maid of honor. It was like 15 years ago, but she was definitely she's one of my sister-in-law's best friends. Or at least was back then.
My non-sports tweet of the day. I tweeted this out at 2:06 p.m. Eastern time. Jackie has been insufferable during the season of Real Housewives of New Jersey.
I'll be honest. I only watched one season. That's when Tiki and Tracy were on it. Yeah. Otherwise, I know nothing about what's going on the show. She's been very cool as far as the multiple times that I've known her. She actually came in. She has a couple sons, and her kids were doing a podcast. So they came in one time. And she came in, and the kids interviewed Tiki here in the studio. This was probably about 10, 12 years ago.
Wow.
But, yeah, there you go.
No, I never had an issue with her up until this season. She's just trying too hard on the show. She's trying to stay on the show, and she's basically like Ray Allen, right? Well, she was with the Celtics. She was on the good team with the Gorgas, and then she flipped to the Judices, and that's Ray Allen on the Heat.
Well, so I think that's part of the thing is she's solid, right? She's never going to be,
She's insufferable now this season.
Well, so she's never going to be like the most interesting, craziest one that you're going to want to watch, but she's never the worst one to watch either. She's just always kind of good and interesting, just kind of right there in the middle. I think maybe now she's trying to up her profile a little bit.
It's crazy how addicted I've become to the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So I think they release the episodes at 10 or 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on Sundays. Usually I would wait till Monday to watch. Now I'm like right at 9:30, 10. I was on the train on Sunday. Right away, watching on the train.
I'm not sure that's something you want to admit on a sports talk show.
I'm very comfortable in my own skin. When I don't watch sports, the 2 reality TV shows I watch are Real Housewives of New Jersey and The Jersey Shore.
What's with you in Jersey?
I just like mindless, dumb television.
But you're not a Jersey guy.
So what? I have to be from New Jersey?
Or are you calling Jersey dumb?
I mean, listen, if it was one show, yeah.
My father's from New Jersey.
If you had like 2 favorite shows and one of them was a Jersey-related show, that's one thing. But your 2 favorite shows are both Jersey shows. There has to be some weird obsession you have with Jersey.
No, it's not that. I like New Jersey. I have no issues with New Jersey. My grandparents live in New Jersey. My father's from New Jersey.
Who doesn't love Passaic?
No, that's where that's where my family's from.
I just threw out a random New Jersey city.
Clifton's right there. Rutt's Hut, home of the Ripper. Delicious hot dog. Let's go around the room here, though. Who gets the second title first? Is it Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, or is it Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum? I'll start with you, Samter.
Murray and Jokic.
Okay. Botcher?
Tatum and Brown.
Do I even have to ask Manny? You could say, who gets the second championship first? Trae Young? Landry Fields?
Wait for
Or Tatum and Jaylen Brown? Yeah, I'd like you have Brussels sprouts and asparagus for dinner. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown win a championship. He would take the Brussels sprouts.
2 of my least favorite vegetables. Yes.
So is it Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, or Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown?
Yeah, no, it's probably going to be the guys in Denver. Yeah, it'll be the guys in Denver. They're just. I think they have more going on for that.
So Tatum and Brown are just so consistent. Jokic is the big star out of the 4. He's the best player out of the 4. Murray, I can't wait to see how he responds. Because I was like the leader of the Jamal Murray fan club and really saying that Denver could win a championship before anyone could. But Murray, it was one thing when he was hurt, but this year he was banged up, but he was shut down, and he had those antics of throwing the heating pad, throwing the towel, and it kind of made me sour. Now, they recovered. They got that series to 2-2, and then they got it to 3-2 in their favor, and they lost 6 and 7. But with how great Jokic is, and Sam made this point, the league's so open now. There's no Warriors. There's no Heat. There's no Cleveland. There's no team that you look at, it's like, oh, it's a guarantee for them to get to the NBA Finals next year. So I would love to see actually next year Denver go up against Boston. I think it would be phenomenal. But I would go Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray because it's so tough to win back-to-back, especially when you don't have super teams. And Tatum and Brown just won it. And Jokic and Murray won, then they were eliminated in the second round. So I could see them having a very strong year next year and winning the championship all over again. So that's why I go Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. So anyway, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. When we come on back, I think the Associated Press is changing their voting criteria and parameters for Comeback Player of the Year because of an interview that occurred on this show. We will tell you what I'm talking about when we return. Also, we have some ratings on the latest Angel Reese-Caitlin Clark matchup, which we will get to as well to wrap up shop. But first up, with the latest Infinity Sports Network update, here he is, the great Manny Rodriguez.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, Zach, one of the questions heading into Game 5 of the NBA Finals was the status of the Celtics big man Kristaps Porzingis. He played through injury and was asked on the court how he managed to fight through.
Good question. I don't know. The medical staff did everything they could, and I gave my all, and I was able to get out there.
Courtesy of ESPN, after the Celtics won their 18th title, Porzingis revealed he will undergo a rare left leg surgery and will have a recovery process of a few months. More NBA news, Jeff Van Gundy has agreed to a deal that will make him a lead assistant under Ty Lue's staff with the LA Clippers. The 62-year-old spent 16 seasons calling games for ESPN before accepting a role with the Celtics last summer. NFL training camps, well, they've reported their dates the dates have been announced for report. The Chiefs will report on July 20th, while the reigning NFC champs, the Niners, they will report on the 23rd. Hockey, the Panthers, they are hosting the Oilers in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final, an 8 Eastern puck drop in Sunrise. If Florida wins, they will host the Stanley Cup for the first time in franchise history. I'm Manny Rodriguez.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X and like us on Facebook. Our handle is @INF Sportsnet on X and INF Sportsnet for Facebook.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. So I saw the ratings from over the weekend. They were just released. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, their second matchup in the WNBA.
Is that what we're going to call from now on?
No,
the W?
That's what it's referred to.
Oh.
The W.
All
in
right.
the W. And whenever I listen to these debate shows, they always refer to WNBA as in the W. It's the most watched WNBA game in 23 years. Chicago Sky against the Indiana Fever did 2.25 million viewers. That's bonkers. That is absolutely wild. And when you have a rivalry like that, you know, there's always the star and then there's the villain. And don't get me wrong, the villain can also be a star, can also be a great player. But there are defined roles when you have a great rivalry. And Angel Reese has even said she wants to take on the villain role and she's okay wearing that crown right. She said that before because it will continue to grow and grow the game. I don't think Angel Reese, though, likes to be the villain because there are times where she has complained before, and I don't think necessarily the way that she handled after the game. Like, I didn't have a real problem with, like, the foul. Like, it was a deserving of a flagrant. It happens in basketball. I'm not going to freak out and dissect every time a foul gets called. But in the first matchup, when Caitlin Clark was shoved by Carter, she was, like, the first one to jump off the bench and start dancing. So this time around, you can't foul Caitlin Clark the way that she did and then go, oh, well, Caitlin Clark always gets a favorable whistle. No, you committed a foul that I'm not freaking out about, but it's still a flagrant foul. So my only gripe with this rivalry is that I wish Angel Reese would just lay into the villain role more. I feel like she has 1 foot in, 1 foot out on being the villain. And a lot of crap comes with being the villain. But clearly, the role that she's playing right now is good enough to deliver 2.25 million viewers. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And it just goes back to the Olympic team, too. How women's basketball passed up having Caitlin Clark on that team. There's going to be a ton of people now that don't tune into the Olympics. Or there won't be as many people tuning into the women's basketball part of the Olympics if she was on the team, even if she only played a few minutes. So, man. You talk about individuals driving people to their sport. Look at what Caitlin Clark has done with the WNBA. So I was reading this earlier this morning. The AP is asking voters to consider the following when voting for Comeback Player of the Year starting this upcoming season. This is via Ari Mira via Rob Mahdi. The spirit of the AP Comeback Player of the Year award is to honor a player who has demonstrated resilience in the face of adversity by overcoming illness, physical injury, or other circumstances that led him to miss playing time in the previous season. So Joe Flacco won the award this year over DeMar Hamlin this past season. Geno Smith won the award over Christian McCaffrey. Right? Geno just didn't play for a while, and Joe Flacco came off the couch. And, DeMar Hamlin almost died on a football field and then was able to play. This was Joe Flacco with us. Santa, around when was this? It was right after the season, right? It had to be in like January, I want to say. Maybe it was during the playoffs. I think it was during the playoffs when Joe Flacco joined us on the show.
January 26th.
January 26th, to be exact. And I asked Joe Flacco about potentially winning the Comeback Player of the Year award. This is Joe Flacco.
I don't necessarily know what I'm coming back from. I would say most of the guys on that list, I'm not sure what we're coming back from, so that's probably my initial reaction. But I think anytime that you're, getting recognized in this league for, playing well, I guess, it can be flattering. So it's a cool group to be a part of, that's for sure. But yeah, that's my initial thought is I'm not necessarily, I'm just coming back from, being old and, not being on a team for a couple months. So who knows?
So you think DeMar should win it? Is that what you're saying? Just wondering?
For sure.
Let me give you the finalists for Comeback Player of the Year, Samter, this past year. Joe Flacco, DeMar Hamlin, Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, Tua Tagovailoa. Who do you think should have won it?
I mean, it's hard not to vote for DeMar after what he went through, but he didn't really play very much. So it's hard to call him a comeback player because he came back,
from near death.
From death, but he didn't really play. He wasn't really on the field to be there. But the fact that he's even on the field is something. So that's part of it. But I feel like you have to come back and show excellence in that comeback. So just coming back from something debilitating, to me, isn't enough to win the award. You have to come back and excel. So for me, it probably would have been Tua. Because Tua came back from some bad injuries and had a monstrous season that kind of fell off towards the end. But it's probably Tua for me.
So I guess under the new guidelines, this is what they want you to evaluate. The spirit of the AP Comeback Player of the Year award is to honor a player who has demonstrated resilience in the face of adversity by overcoming illness, physical injury, or other circumstance that led him to miss playing time the previous season. No one in there does it say excellence.
No.
Because I'm with you. And I'm not disagreeing with what you said. The story of DeMar Hamlin means he should have won Comeback Player of the Year, and him being on the field just for a few games and playing some special teams is excellence. But you would think that you usually have to have like some great statistical record. When they say the Spirit of the AP Comeback Player of the Year award is an honor a player who's demonstrated resilience in the face of adversity by overcoming illness, physical injury, or circumstance that led him to miss playing time the previous season, then you had to get. If that was the way that they wanted you to vote for the award last year, then you have to give it to DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, it doesn't say excellent. In my mind, though, I look at it as somebody who overcame that stuff and showed excellence, or at least showed some sort of level of amazing,
amazing what?
Performance.
Oh, performance.
Oh, I think my finger hit the button too quick.
Yeah. No, but I remember we had a similar conversation with Alex Smith. Like, the fact that Alex Smith was able to just get on the field was crazy, but it's not like Alex Smith was great even when he returned, but when you almost had your leg amputated and nearly died, yeah, I can understand why you'd win the
No, it says physical injury, illness, or something else that kept you from playing games. Is being old and sitting on a couch like Joe Flacco was doing considered, something else that kept you from playing games?
They're saying that would not be valid, or they're saying Geno Smith being buried in a depth chart for 10 years would not be valid as well.
Interesting.
That what they want you to do is demonstrate resilience in the face of adversity by overcoming illness, physical injury, or other circumstances that led him to miss playing time the previous season. That back end is still very vague. You're not wrong. Straight off the couch for Joe Flacco. So maybe that's another circumstance. All righty, it's the end of the Zach Gelb Show on this Tuesday. We'll talk to you manana, everybody, at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Big thanks to Baja. Big thanks to Santa. Big thanks to each and every one of you. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.